Hello Identity 5 gamers and welcome to the Season 37 Survivor tier list. This is going to be based off of ranks, not tournament. It does need to be said that ranked tier lists are very different from tourney tier lists, so I'm emphasizing that this is going to be for Survivor rank. I know people do tiers all the time, but I was inspired by Zeus IDV doing one of his tier lists for Survivor rank recently. I kind of wanted to put my own thoughts out here. As a couple of disclaimers, first things first, I'm not the best player in the game by a long shot. This is just going to be my opinion, so please do not take this as objective fact. This is going to be what I value as a player and what characters I personally think are strong as somebody who is a dual faction player. Second thing is, you are completely fine to agree with me and you are completely fine to disagree with me. That is 100% fine. All I ask is that if you're going to talk about things in the comments, please keep it respectful, especially if you go to debate somebody down in there being like, want to share your reasons why you think this character is good, why you think this character is bad. Keep it respectful. If I see any disrespect, I'm going to delete the comments. I don't want to see anything like that. And I encourage, if this list is like reposted, if I put it on twitter.com or something, I do ask that those people be respectful as well. I know tier lists tend to get pretty heated, so I just want everybody to treat each other with respect, because we all value different things as players in this game, and I think every opinion, for the most part, is valid as long as you have a good amount of knowledge about the game. Lastly, I also do want to say that I think every character in this game can be played in rank. It's just that this is going to be a tier list of what characters are the best in rank. I think every survivor, because of just how good their base kit is, if they even just have like a broken Windows borrowed, can do decently well against a lot of the hunters with just good raw kiting. So every character can be played. This is just going to be a list of what characters are better than others and what will be more consistent to getting wins or even just simple draws with. So with all that being said, let's just jump right into the tier list. Okay, so here we are. Here is the list. It does maybe look a little intimidating since there's so many tiers, but let's break it down for you real quick. We have, first category is the top 5. This will be what I consider to be the top 5 best ranked survivors. Just from my own opinion, we have S tier survivors, which are the strongest survivors in the game that are just outside of the top 5. We have A+, which are very strong survivors, but maybe have like too many bad matchups that can't put them into S tier, or something that I think is strong versus the majority of the cast, but still like it kind of suffers. I don't know. It does need to be said that not every character also will have a perfect matchup into every single hunter. That's just non-existent. Every character cannot match up positively into every hunter. It's just not possible. There are some characters that have a lot of good matchups, but there are still going to be some counters at the end of the day for every character in the game. For A tier, this is just like, solid, like just very, very solid survivor. This would just be solid, but like not as strong. Also, I don't know why B and C are swapped. My fault there. This is just characters that are almost as strong as like a really good rank survivor, but just lacking like a little something. They just might need like a little bit more to put them into that A tier. So they're going to be just a little less consistent, not as good. B tier is going to be survivors that I think can work, but they take either a little more skill to play, are too gimmicky and inconsistent, or are just fine. And nothing like super stellar. Like the hunter, like they're going to be an easy first chase. They'll be fine. But they can still work, but it's just going to be a lot harder. And then C tier are going to be characters that I just think are not great. And really should not be in high tier rank, honestly, in my personal opinion. We also do have Escapologist that came out this season. However, he has not been in rank just yet. From just looking at him right now, he seems like he's going to be pretty decent. I've played a good amount of him with Quick Match. Not like with him yet, but I've seen like people playing with him in Quick Match, and he seems decent. I think I would probably put him like around A for now, but I don't know, so I'm going to keep him unranked just at the start. But I think we can start things off here with Lucky Guy. And in my personal opinion, I think Lucky Guy is pretty decent. The thing about Lucky Guy is he's just kind of a jack of all trades, master of nothing. He has so many different items that he can get from his wish, and then from the chest, if he's not getting chased, he can get a lot of different stuff. One of the best things to do as Lucky Guy is the top 3 items that you can usually get are Pocket Watch, Gun, and the bot. The bot is super, super good because it can push Cypher Rush even faster, and they can kind of treat him like a mini mechanic, which is what a lot of people do on top level Aegis server. Is if like lucky guys spawn in a really strong area, the hunter doesn't want to chase them, pick up a bot, decode the cipher, leave the bot out, move to a new cipher, let the bot finish the cipher, or however you want to use the bot. It can be really, really good. And even when the bot's about to go down, you can use it to like feed Tinnitus in like a strong or like a weak area. And then the hunter will have to like respect that if they can't find the bot. So yeah, Lucky Guy, in my opinion, is just very, very good. He did get like a few new buffs. That flashlight is decent. I haven't really seen too many Lucky Guys use the flashlight, but the biggest thing is why I can't put him higher is that his wish is not consistent with a lot of like the stronger items like the gun or the pocket watch. And I think the bot is also 50% chance as well. It's not really consistent to get the best items. And it really sucks that sometimes you're going to get first chase as a Lucky Guy. And if you wish for a gun and you get a syringe, well, there's not much you're going to be able to do with that syringe unless like the hunter switches targets. So I can't really put him higher than that. He does have veteran speed bonus, which is really good as well. So when you hit him, he gets a lot of distance compared to other characters. So that is just really, really good for him. And I just put him overall solid A- tier. So definitely a ranked viable character, but it is going to take a lot of skill. I would almost put him B tier, but I think he just has so much versatility that I'm going to put him A-. Next up is Doc. Doc, in my opinion, belongs in C tier. Doc sucks. Doc is so bad. Doc can save games, keyword being can, because the thing is, like, for hunters that like to play aggressive and injure everybody, that doesn't really work against a Doc. But the thing is, most of the time when there's a Doc on the team, the hunter is just going to chase you. And if the hunter has blink, they're downing you in 60 seconds or worse. And like even if you get a heal off, you're also giving them a lot of presence. So against a lot of the strong hunters, you're just going to be feeding them presence over and over, which could make rescues even harder, which could lead to more stuffed rescues. And again, this character is just not a well-designed character, in my personal opinion. She delays matches because she's able to self-heal, which kind of is just... She can heal herself without needing a teammate, which is kind of just breaks the fundamentals of the game. Because she can just do it infinitely, as opposed to like Meteorologist or Barmaid who can heal, but they have a set limit on those heals. But Doc, she can just do it infinitely. And I personally have a big distaste toward Doc, but outside of bias, she is not a strong character at all. She has no kiting ability. All she can do is really just hide behind pallets. And if you can't consistently win mind games, if your character requires you to consistently win mind games, it's not a good character. Like, the only thing she has is pallet mind games. And sure, you could be the best pallet mind game out there, but what are you gonna do when you're up against like a really strong hunter? We have a lot of strong hunters that are ranked viable. Even Anne, for a good example, just throws out cats at the pallet. Doc will drop the pallet or run past it, okay, and jumps if she runs past it. If she drops it and breaks it and then just kills her. Like, there's nothing that the Doc can do. So, yeah, Doc just sucks. Doc sucks. She is really annoying when you try to play aggressively, and if you don't chase the Doc, she can actually be a bit of a nuisance. So she does have some level of annoyance toward the hunter because she can heal so fast and relieve a lot of the pressure. However, again, if she gets chased, she's kind of cooked against any of the good hunters, and she's just not gonna be doing anything. It's gonna be really hard against good hunters. She can work up until like the mid tiers, but once you start reaching high tier, you gotta just be really good at mind games. Like that's all I can really say. So she can still work, but it's going to be really hard. It's going to be extremely, extremely hard. Next up is going to be Lawyer. Now, Lawyer, I'm going to put in A+. Lawyer is super, super good in rank. Not as good in tourney anymore, but this is a rank tier list specifically. So one of the biggest factors that hunters have over survivors in rank is the surprise effect. They don't know what they're going up against, right? It could be anything. So in terms of builds, maybe your builds don't match up well. Like if you're up against a wheel, you don't want broken windows. If you're up against an Anne, you really don't want flywheel. Like it can be used, but like, for Sangria too, you really would rather have broken windows versus Sangria, or knee jerk, I should say. But Lawyer, he kind of just takes that. He's like, I wonder what the hunter is. Let me just look at my map. Boom, you already know what the hunter is. And if you have communication with your team, you can ping, this is what the hunter is. This is where the hunter's going. If you're in a VC, it's super easy because like you can just rotate for free. He's one of the best rotators in the game, probably the best rotator, because you can always see the hunter for like a really, really long time. I want to say like 40 seconds or something is how long map lasts if it's just out from the start. It lasts a very long time. Can't really get mind game at the start of the game. He does have a few weird matchups, like Wuchang actually isn't too bad into him because if Wuchang Umbrella's right on top of where the lawyer spawned, there's a very low chance that the lawyer's going to be able to rotate, kind of counters rotation. Geisha might be a little tricky. It's kind of 50-50 because Geisha will counter his rotation. I guess like any hunter that can counter rotation, lawyer would slightly struggle against, but there's so many other buffs that lawyer has. The passive running buff is going to be so good for lawyer because he can get to pallets quicker, which means he won't have to mind game. It just gives him that little bit of extra speed that allows him to just out-kite, allows him to stall just a little bit longer. His vaulting buff can go absolutely insane. Lawyer paired with a Postman vaulting is, oh man, that he vaults like a batter. And that can save him so much. His decoding is 15% faster, which, while it isn't the fastest in the game, it still does help out a lot, leads to getting Cypher Rushed. And on top of that, he has 2 more abilities. He can't get Terror Shocked unless he uses a wand, which obviously is, if you're going to use a wand, like, don't get Terror Shocked. Or at least don't be at half health, or only use it at half health if you're a lawyer. And then he has veteran speed bonus. So when he gets hit, he is gone, bro. He's getting so much freaking distance. It's going to be so hard to catch up to him for a lot of the hunters. But that no Terror Shock is so good because you can play this character almost like a backup rescue if needed. For example, let's say you're up against like a clown or a gamekeeper and you don't really have like the strongest rescuers. Like let's say you have like a toy merchant and a novelist on your team. I don't know. Like, Novice could maybe do something, but it's pretty risky. If you're too scared to get the rescue, just brute force it with Lawyer. Because the Gamekeeper won't be able, he can't Terror Shock you. Same with the Clown, he can't Terror Shock you, just do it. And that's what's so good about Lawyer is he can be played as like a backup rescuer in a pinch. Obviously, he should not ever be a main rescuer. You should never play Lawyer as a rescuer. It's more just like a, when you need to, when you don't want to get TS'd, Lawyer can come in and be a backup rescuer, which is really not that bad. I mean, he can still get cut off, he still can't make rescues against certain really strong hunters, like maybe Sculptor, who can interrupt his rescues and whatnot with the statues, but against something that's just like a Terror Shock farmer like Clown, Gamekeeper, who really love getting double hits or TSs, Lawyer doesn't care. He can just do it. He can just straight up do the rescue. So yeah, he just has 6 different little things going for him. And all those combined together to make a really solid survivor in rank. I don't think he's S tier though. I think he was in the passive for, Goatman, Hulla, and whatnot. Like all the hunters started becoming better before Ivy came out, and also when he was stronger too. He used to decode 20% faster and used to have a 5% running boost as opposed to 3.5. So I would still put Lawyer A+ for now. I still think he is very, very solid. As for Thief. Thief is, in my opinion, very bad. I think I would actually put him, he's B tier at best. I'm not super experienced at Thief since Thief doesn't really show up too often. But he is just really not that good of a character. He does have some pretty decent matchups, like against Sangria. If you're in the right spot, he can actually do really well into Sangria. He weirdly enough does decent into, I believe, Geisha sometimes, does decent into Nightwatch. But you know, some hunters that could destroy him are something like Wax Artist, right? If you get a Wax Artist, you're dead. If you get a Clown, you're dead. Like, they're a Gamekeeper, probably is dead. Because like all these hunters, BQ, for example, they can just affect him outside of his flashlight range. And there's nothing the Thief is going to be able to do, right? There's literally nothing he's going to be able to do. So, Thief kind of just sucks. I mean, there is a lot of tricks with Thief, and he does have some decent matchups, but just in general, against a lot of the good characters, he's not going to do it. Like, Anne is a very common rank hunter, one of the most common rank hunters, very strong character. What's a Thief going to do versus Anne? She's going to throw cats on him, jump from out of flashlight range, and then just hit him. Like, there's nothing that he can do, you know? So yeah, I don't think Thief is very good. The thing is, the flashlight as well, like the portable flashlight, is decent. Because you can get like a good stun on some hunters, but there's a lot of hunters that just can ignore it, you know? Even Geisha, like I said before, if she just backs away from it, she can just butterfly through the window. And the time it took for you to drop the flashlight means you're losing distance as well. So if you're up against a character that can go through that window pretty quick, it's not gonna matter. Or even like, you know, something like a BQ, if she has her mirror ready, she can just be like, okay, I'm just not gonna go through the window, I'll just hit you with my mirror. Like, good luck, what are you gonna do? He just has too many bad matchups, despite him having like some decently good ones. And doesn't really have anything else going for that aside from that. Like, he can open up chests faster. There's like an Omni chest opening thing. I think he gets calibrations. Like, I think his calibrations are harder or more consistent. I forget exactly what it is. Regardless, Thief is too weak. He is simply too weak to be considered good. So I would put him in C tier. I think he's better than Doc. And he might even be B tier potentially, but he's just not good enough. He's just not consistent enough. His flashlight only really works against like hunters without presence and some good matchups. That's really it. Next up, we have Gardener. I think Gardener is a very, very good rank survivor. I think I'd probably put her in A tier. Because bubble is, first off, very good. You have 50 seconds of bubble at the start of the match, which is just super good. That means you're basically a 3-hit survivor at the start of the game. She can be played as a backup rescuer, which is really nice. Like Tide Borrowed Gardener is really viable. Because you can rescue, for example, against like Clown and Gamekeeper, right? Those two characters that are very, very scary to rescue from. You can guarantee rescues from them because they can't double hit you. Bubble is just so extremely good for rescues. It matches up well into really strong hunters like Opera Singer. She can do well against Ivy. Even if Goatman was let through, which the Goatman should not be ever let through in rank, she can do something. She can get rescues at half health of that bubble if you're able to like hide and approach the chair. Again, she doesn't really match up super positively into some of the high tier hunters. Like for example, if you're up against like a Wax Artist or an And, they can just stun you. Hermit, they can stun you, wait out your bubble, hit. It's not the best because she technically is a raw kiter outside of her bubble, but she also has some tricks. She can prime the bubble with like after a post tide. There's a lot of tricks that this character can do. I think she's overall a very, very solid character, and that's not even talking about her veteran speed bonus as well. She has veteran speed bonus, which helps her get more distance faster. She has faster vaulting near rocket chairs, and she lasts longer on the rocket chair. She has built-in snooze, 10% longer on chairs, and she has her toolbox, which can be really helpful to pinch. It's not the best item, but let's say you're the hunter, like somebody dies out in a corner, you can break a chair and then help them struggle free, especially if you have like a Cowboy paired with it, or somebody has struggle speed built into their persona web. Like that can be really, really good with a Gardener. I almost want to put her A+, but I think I'm going to put her just A for now, because there's a lot of hunters that don't let her get her bubble. Like they're just simply too fast. Like I would say Night Watch into Gardener is not the best for Gardener, especially if she's like second chase, because she doesn't really have time to set up bubble, right? She doesn't really have time to set up, because as opposed to, Opera Singer, who if you're behind a window or a pallet, she can't do anything. Night Watch can jump over it and you can't, put your bubble up in time. So yeah, there's just a lot of characters that can kind of make it so she can't use her bubble. She has to stand still to use her bubble, which means like a lot of projectile hunters can just hit her for free. And even some projectile hunters can counter her bubble. Like let's say Sculptor, you can set up or Bonbon, you can set up the bubble to get the rescue, but there's still a lot more projectiles coming. You still have to risk the Terror Shock. So yeah, overall, solid A survivor. Very, very good. Very, very, very good rank survivor. Next up is Magician. Magician got a super good buff this season. I don't know if I would put Magician S tier, but without a doubt, he is A tier. Magician is, or A+ tier. He is so good right now. So Mage has 3 wands. He can put them down in pallets. The hunter has to swing to walk through. He can go through his own wands now. He gets a 50% speed bonus for 2 seconds each wand usage, and if the hunter hits the wand, he gets a second speed boost that stacks. And it can last longer. Like if it's like 2 seconds, then another 2 seconds. Like that is so incredibly good. Mage can get so much distance right now. He's good against 2 of the best rank hunters in the game right now, both Opera and Ivy. He kind of is really good against both of them. He isn't the best versus Anne. Wax Artist is kind of 50-50 to my knowledge, but he kind of has a positive, or at least neutral matchup on a lot of the hunters in the game. And he can rescue now. His cutting is so decent that he can actually like be a decent rescuer right now. He has that passive when he gets off the chair the first time. You can't really see where the mage is going. He doesn't really have any support, and that's why I don't know if I want to put him in S tier just yet. I think I need to see a little more of mage before I can put him in S tier, but right now he seems extremely, extremely powerful in rank, and I think his buff, I need to see a little bit more of it before I'll put him in S tier. For now, though, I'm putting him in A+ with a good chance of potentially being S tier. But he just has so much going for him right now. He's just such a strong kiter right now. And yeah, I think that's all I can really say. He's just a really good kiter right now, post buff. Next up is Explorer, and I'm gonna put Explorer probably. I think I'll put him above Lucky Guy. This is gonna be ordered, by the way. These are all ordered. I'm gonna put him an A-. Explorer is very, very good right now. Again, post buffs, he's really hard to find with hunters that have like information seeking abilities. You know, like I think Hullabaloo's clone used to be able to find him. Not anymore. You know, he's gonna be able to hide. Another thing, he can't be spotted by stuff like BQ Mirror, Feast or Tentacle, Sculptor Full Pres Statue. Like, there's a lot of things that don't spot him out, right? And what's really good about Explorer is because his gimmick is so strong of hiding, if he's playing like a good map that has like a lot of good hiding locations that the hunter won't ever find you in, he can get backdoor rescues. He can play just Explorer with Tide, and if the gimmick works, it works very well. He also doesn't feed information to the hunter very often, because when you're just going around gathering pages and the hunter's chasing somebody else, like make sure you'll get the notification like once you dig up the page, but it's not gonna matter when the hunter's focused on somebody else. And hunters rely a lot on being able to tell where survivors are by looking at ciphers shaking, but you can't do that with an Explorer because only 2 ciphers are gonna be shaking. And then it's like, okay, so the rescuer is gonna be on that one. But what if Explorer's coming to rescue, you know? You have to respect the fact that Explorer can gimmick rescue. And that's what makes him so decent right now in this meta. That, and his buff also makes him decode faster. Every calibration he gets, he decodes a little bit faster. So his Cypher Rush is even faster now. Like, I think he gets ciphers done, I wanna say like 5 seconds faster now, I wanna say, potentially. Like, I think at max it's like, you know, maybe like 3 to like 7 seconds faster, or somewhere around there. He just decodes a little bit faster now. So yeah, Explorer's just really, really good right now. He is very, very good right now. But again, this thing is, if the gimmick doesn't work, if he is caught, he's dead. He has no kiting ability. Like, he just has literally nothing. And if you double that with, like, you know, Borrowed Time Tide Explorer, you're cooked. Like, there's nothing you're gonna be able to do against a lot of the strong hunters. Like, Explorer literally can't do anything. And unless you get, like, a good rescue as well, he is very prone to getting double down versus a lot of hunters. Because again, he has no self-preservation. So if you're gonna rescue the Explorer, it's better to do like a farm almost instead, and then just have the Explorer run away to continue to decode. I don't know. He works as a good backup rescue. I don't think he should ever be first rescue unless he's just in position. But again, Explorer's is very strong. Speaking of rescuers though, Mercenary, undoubtedly S tier. Merc will always be S tier. Merc is just so good. He can get rescues at half health, which is like, most other characters cannot do that in this game. Like, there are some that can, but they kind of have to use their item in a really, really good way. And a lot of the time, the hunter can counterplay it. But Mercenary, if he doesn't get TS'd, he's making that rescue against a single hit hunter. And that's what makes him so strong. And he can eat a Terror Shock. You know, Terror Shock is one of the best ways for hunters to win. Like, if they try to TS on rescue, it's one of the easiest ways for hunters to win. Because the second you Terror Shock somebody, it's very hard for the survivors to win. It is extremely hard. Like, you get like a draw guarantee almost if you Terror Shock, and a very good chance of winning. That is, if the hunters, you know, got like a decently fast down, let's say like 60, 70 second down, like pretty average down after blink, and they get a TS. But Mercenary, even though there's gonna be a double down, the kiter still gets off the chair with Tide Turner, and they can still have a chance to rebound. And that's what's so good about Mercenary. That, and he can go for detention rescues with Tide Turner. He can eat a hit and have somebody else walk out the gate. Like, he can stay mid, eat a hit, elbow pad to gate, and there's nothing you can do because of the delayed damage. The delayed damage effect is so incredibly powerful, and it literally is the difference maker between wins and draws, and draws and losses. Like, it is such a strong ability. And Mercenary just he has that faster vaulting, so he's a little harder to chase. If you chase the Mercenary, it's gonna be a free draw because he has longer chair time and that delayed down, so it's gonna be really hard to win chasing a Mercenary because you're gonna get Cypher Rushed as well. Sometimes you gotta, like, some hunters, like, sometimes I play Night Watch and I see like three really strong kiters. I'm like, I'll just chase the Mercenary and get my free draw. Like, sometimes I kind of just have to do that. But yeah, Mercenary is just undoubtedly S tier. He will always be S tier. One of, if not the best rescuer in the game. And he's very consistent. He does have some pretty bad matchups, like Clown is kind of annoying for Mercenary. Gamekeeper is, he struggles. He's not like perfect. He's not God. He's not going to get every single rescue, right? But he has the highest chance of like a successful rescue, I want to say, out of anybody in the game. So yeah, he's He's very strong. He is just so incredibly strong and needs to be respected all the time. And he does have that healing debuff and a decoding debuff, which is pretty significant. And a lot of hunters do take advantage of that, but his strengths more than make up for his weaknesses. Like, he's a kind of a double-edged sword, but he's just so incredibly safe. And just rescues are how hunters gain momentum, and Mercenary just kind of blocks that momentum half the time. And also, he just can't get cut off because elbow pad is just so strong to getting to the chair. And there's like a lot of crazy elbow pads that you can do. So yeah, Merc will always be S tier. I think I'd put him in top 5 actually. I think I would put Mercenary in top 5. He's just such a good rank survivor. He's just so incredibly good. Banned a lot too. Just so crazy. Next up is going to be Priestess. Priestess, this is tough. I don't know if Priestess, I think Priestess is still S tier in rank. I think she is. It's hard. I almost want to put her A+, but I think, here's the thing, Global Portal is still extremely strong. You always need to respect Global Portal. Literally, hunters can lose games off of Global Portal. It can 100% lose games off of Global Portals just because it takes so much distance. Now, Warp definitely did hurt Priestess a lot, which makes you want to put her in A+. But the thing is, there's just not a lot of good Priestesses, especially like on NAEU, I want to say, but she's still banned all the time. And if you're with a good Priestess and she knows her lineups, dude, especially on her like really strong maps like Ever Sleeping Chinatown, you're gonna get worked. Like, you need to ban Priestess on those maps. She's just so incredibly strong. Her support is just too good. It just also needs to be said that her portals can literally just take her to a good area. So many survivors struggle making it to good areas, but Priestess, especially with her support, can just be like, boom, you're in a good area. That's it. Just take one portal, stun, you're in a good area now. Have fun. Like, that's it. It's that simple. Now, it does need to be said that Priestess's kiting abilities are not very strong. I do believe if there is going to be a Priestess, she needs to have a kiting build in rank, and she needs to spawn in a good area. Like, without a doubt, she needs to spawn in a good area. So like, if you're playing on Hospital, put her mid. If you're playing on Arms Factory, give her Factory, like stuff like that. You know, you shouldn't play Price on Arms Factory, but you know, if you're on Red Church, give her mid, give her something like Shack, give her like the good areas she can kite with, so that they won't chase her, because Priestess is very chaseable in this meta. Her healing buff also does really help a lot. And just in general, she's just can be annoying. She can backdoor rescue. You kind of have to always respect a Priestess. You know, you always have to respect a Priestess. And even though she isn't as strong as she used to be, I think she's gonna go here. There is a chance she could be A+ tier, but I'm gonna leave her S just because the fact that her support is completely game changing. So yeah, I think I'd still put her there. But again, there is a very solid argument for her being A+, potentially even A. But I personally value that support so much. And even 2 portals alone should be able to get you 60 seconds with like a knee-jerk build on Priestess against most hunters, I want to say. So yeah, Coordinator is up next. Coordinator is undoubtedly S tier. I might have to rearrange top 5 once I figure out all the S tier characters here, but Coordinator is undoubtedly S tier. Cordy has so much going for her. She is a rescue character that doesn't have a decoding debuff unless they're on the chair, which isn't going to be too often for a majority of the game. She has one of the best items in the game, the flare gun, which unless you're a bot or the hunter just outplays you, you're not going to hit a wall. Or if you don't, you make a mistake or whatever. Excitement is very viable versus Coordinator, but the thing is, if the hunter brings excitement and they're chasing a quarter in the first place, you have a long chair time. Coordinator has a 10% longer chair time. And they would have had to bring excitement just for you, which means the other characters won't have to worry about, you know, blink and whatnot for their second chase, potentially. They only have to worry about excitement, which means, okay, the hunter might be more aggressive. They'll walk through pallets, sure. Maybe they just pallet spam a little bit more. But Coordinator also just can kite very well. She has that every 40 seconds, she has a speed boost whenever she approaches a window or a pallet. She has faster vaulting, 10% faster vaulting, which is just super nice for her kiting. And what's really nice about Coordinator is she's not even played as a rescuer. She's played as a backup rescuer, a secondary rescuer with a kite build, flywheel or knee jerk, never really with Tide. Because on top level Asia server, you see Mercenary and Coordinator being played all the time. Mercenary goes for first rescue, they die in a better area with Tide Tinner. Coordinator comes in with second rescue, uses gun, they get distance. 5-second stun, that's a 5-second plus stun. It's like an over 5-second stun with the gun. And it's very easy to control. And that alone, you don't even have to shoot the flare gun. Sometimes the hunter alone will just respect the Coordinator flare gun and will be scared. It's like the same thing with Antiquarian, you know, not even using their item is part of the mind game because they don't want to get hit by that flare gun, right? So maybe they'll back off, hide away from you, and you gain distance like that, you know? She's just such a consistently strong survivor. And even though, again, she does have some bad matchups, like she's not the perfect survivor, but she can deal with almost every single hunter in the game to an extent. And she can usually do pretty consistent kites for the most part. Obviously, again, excitement is going to hurt her. But if it's excitement, you could even just sell the Coordinator because she has such a long chair time and like just farm a free draw potentially. So she just has so much going for her. So many good raw stats abilities. She decodes really quick for the most part. She can even run toward the chair a little bit faster too. So she's not going to get, you know, even if she's getting cut off, she can still make it to the chair a little bit easier than other survivors. Like, this character is just so incredibly good. She is just such a good character in this game. If there's a Coordinator on your team, it's never bad to have a Coordinator on your team. It literally is never. She can kind of fit into almost every single comp. Coordinator will always be a good rescue. And not even to say the fact, she can also harass with the flare gun too. Like, especially if in like a last second thing where you just need to buy a few more seconds, Coordinator can just, if she's nearby, she can just threaten the hunter with the gun, potentially force them to swap to excitement so they have no endgame trait, and then boom, you just get like another free draw or potential 3 escape if like the Coordinator gets enough distance and makes dungeon, or if they TP or whatever. I don't know. Like, she's just such a solid, incredibly solid character. Now, next up is Mechanic. And I think Mechanic is... This one might be a little controversial. Mechanic is S tier. I think she's probably below Coordinator. Mechanic is S tier. It's incredibly hard for hunters to win when there's a Mechanic on the team. This is a 4v1 game, right? This is supposed to be a 4v1 game. Mechanic literally turns the game into a 5v1. If you put Mechanic in a really strong area... against a lot of the cast, they can't do anything. They can't do anything to kill her. Not even be said, some mechanics also like to play bot body block too. That's a 4-hit survivor, and even if it's not the best, Mechanic should always have max snooze. Just sell the Mechanic. She's literally one of the best draw survivors in the game, and even though she has been like nerfed a whole lot, she's so good at securing draws. It's so hard. Like, when you're playing with, like, competent players, obviously, like, you know, randoms, throw and whatnot, I'm really getting that. I'm looking at, like, high-level rank on both ends, assuming that everybody knows what they're doing, knows the game plan. Mistakes happen, right? But this is, like, assuming every person knows what they're doing and is, like, decent at the character, right? That's kind of how this has to be looked at to judge the strength of the character, not the player, you know? We're judging the strength of the characters, not the player, so we're assuming every character knows what they're doing. I probably should have said that earlier because I know people are going to be like, oh, little girl players, like they all throw and whatnot. But it's like, let's judge based on the strength of little girl, not the players, you know? So the strength of the Mechanic is just so high. She's incredibly good. The bot can get backdoor rescues. The bot can feed tinnitus. The bot can buy time. The bot can heal. The bot can open up the exit gate faster. Like... The bot can do everything a regular survivor can do, basically. It's just, it does move slower, it does decode slower, it does everything slower, but it still needs to be respected because it's technically just an extra survivor, and when it decodes, it Cypher Rushes so freaking fast, dude. It is just an extra person on the field. It just turns the game into a 5v1. Mechanic, in my opinion, will always be S tier in rank. She is just such a good rank survivor. She's so incredibly good. It does require a lot of skill. I will say Mechanic does take a lot of skill, and it does require the team to play around the Mechanic. A lot of the time, like when I'm playing with like Santi's Mechanic or whatever, it's really hard to like figure out what we're doing because we don't really go in with the game plan. We kind of just play whatever. So like the bot can be in a cipher that you would want to decode, so then you have to like, you know, spend a whole lot of time to go find a new cipher that the bot's working on or whatever. But like if people have a good idea of what is going on with the Mechanic, they know how to play with a Mechanic, things will go really well. Again, we're not judging based on players' game sense and mistakes. We're judging based on the strength of the character, and Mechanic is a very strong character. S tier, in my personal opinion, without a doubt. Moving on, though, to Forward. This one might also be a bit controversial, but I think Forward is A+. Forward matches up very well into a lot of the cast. He is not really chaseable a lot of the time, because if you're up against, let's say, a really strong hunter, right, Sangria, what you do is you just ball to a good area. Say, hey, I need to go to this area, ball to the good area, and then you just spam pallet and vault. Because Sangria cannot catch up to you because your vaulting is so fast. Like, people don't take advantage of the fact that forward can pallet spam so fast and vault so fast enough, I feel like. Like, he can play so incredibly risky around windows and pallets because he can just go vault, 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 vault. If the hunter has excitement for forward, there's a good chance it's going to be a draw because he'll, run in with excitement. It'll happen, and then what? Rescuer comes in. If forward's rescue, it makes things a little harder because you might have to stun on chair. But again, there is counterplay to him. He doesn't match up perfectly well into every single hunter. But after watching Takoyaki last season, he pushed forward to his absolute limit, and he made forward look like S+ tier, like he was absolutely broken. And so many hunters just have to respect forward. There are a lot of hunters that are weak to harass in this game. And even if he does have to chase, he has that football to deal with a lot of the hunters, right? And I think a lot of forwards, sometimes they underestimate how long they're stunned for post football. So football to a pallet and then the hunter catches up. It's like, okay, but you had to just football farther, And again, he does have some, mediocre matchups. He's not going to do well into something like a Waxars. Waxars is going to be really hard. He's not going to be the best versus Anne. But there's a lot of hunters that he can do something about, and he can buy so much time with that ball. He buys so much time. And after his decoding buff, he was minus 30. I think he's minus 25 now. That just means he cypher rushes a little faster. He's also a very versatile character. He can bring a lot of different builds. He can bring Borrowed Time, Flywheel, Knee Jerk, which is the least popular one, but I've still seen some people do it, which is crazy to say. And Tide Turner, he can be played as a rescuer who can also be a harasser. He can be Borrowed Time Tide, he can be Flywheel Tide, he can be Flywheel Borrowed. Those are the 3 most common forward builds. He's very strong. Now, it does need to be said that forward is a very high skill survivor when you're up against high skill hunters. Mid-tier and low-tier hunters are going to get absolutely worked to forward because they don't really know what to do. I myself struggle against forward quite a lot because I'm not really good against forward, dealing with him. But a lot of hunters do know how to deal with forward. A lot of hunters can predict forward. A lot of hunters can play around forward. And forward requires a lot of skill in that sense. It requires a lot of practice. But again, we're going based off of, both sides playing very, very well. And the forward just can buy so much time. It's also just, you don't even have to harass. You can just be there and buy time because you might be able to, make the hunter chase you. And if you eat a free hit, maybe you can still keep pressuring. And the person you're going to try to harass for can self-heal in time. You don't even have to harass with a lot of these harassers. You can just buy time for the other kiter to self-heal. And that alone can be enough. Or buy time for them to potentially crawl away and struggle. That alone could also work. Forward just can buy so much time successfully. And again, there's counterplay to him, obviously, but he's just so incredibly strong, in my personal opinion, which is why I'm going to put him A+. I don't think he's S tier. I don't think he's S tier. Takoyaki made forward S tier, but I do not think forward is S tier. I would put him. I don't know if I put him above lawyer. I think I will. I think I'll put him above lawyer, actually. I think forward's stronger than lawyer right now in this meta, in my personal opinion. Next up is going to be Mind's Eye. Mind's Eye sucks. Mind's Eye is the worst character in the game. I'm sorry, Mind's Eye sucks. She is undoubtedly the worst character in the game. She does cypher rush very fast, 23% faster. Her vaulting isn't as bad, so her kiting is better. She has that little speed boost. Her cane is good, especially against something like a BQ. Her cane cooldown is faster. She technically has global support, being able to make the hunter, vault slowly and whatnot. But a lot of the good hunters, they're going to be able to find the Mind's Eye. You can hide, which can be really, really strong. You don't get mind gamed with Mind's Eye. But her kiting is simply too weak to keep up with a lot of these strong hunters, even with full kite. I feel like with Mind's Eye, it's just really hard to win. Because if you bring full kite, you're not going to be able to win. This is a list based off of who can get wins, not freaking draws. And Mechanic is more like a you don't lose type character. She guarantees draw or better. Mind's Eye is tie at best, It's if you got a Mind's Eye team against a top level good hunter that we all assume that we know what they're doing, Mind's Eye is going to get worked. She's going to get worked to a good hunter. There's nothing that she can do unless she just outplays the hunter, which again, that's based on player, not character. Her character strength, she just doesn't have anything outside of the little speed boost she gets and the cane, which again, against most hunters, I would say at least it only really hurts I'd say 30% of hunters, maybe. And it can be annoying for like the rest of the cast, but not really extremely good. So yeah, Mind's Eye is just very mediocre, C tier. When she works on Hospital, she's decent, but yeah, for the most part, not the best character in the game. Can still work, it's just a lot harder. Again, that's what C tier is. It's a can still work, but not the best. Next up, we have Perfumer. I'm going to put Perfumer in A tier. Now, this might be a little controversial. I think people would probably put Perfumer in A-. I think Perfumer is just very solid. So many hunters have to commit so many abilities to catching up to the Perfumer alone. And that alone, like her just being able to use Perfume or using Perfume to get to a spot, can just be so strong versus a lot of single hit hunters. Again, not the best matchups across the board. You know, something like Wax Stars can be really annoying for her and can be really annoying for her. Those are really, really common. But she does have ways of dealing with them, right? She can put herself in a good area to be able to sometimes deal with it, right? It's not going to be the easiest. Again, every character is going to have their bad matchups. But, you know, she does do very well against a lot of hunters, right? For example, Geisha does very well versus Geisha. Anytime Geisha, you know, jumps over a pallet, just use a Perfume, go to a good area, and then you're good. The Geisha won't be able to do anything. Soul Weaver, she's very good versus Weaver because Weaver has to commit so much webs to get to you. And what are you supposed to do when you commit all these webs and then Perfumer just perfumes? What do? You can't do anything. Like, it's going to be really hard to do anything there. You know, she has a lot of good matchups. Even Nightwatch. Nightwatch can struggle against Perfumer sometimes because it's like he has to use up his resources to get to the Perfumer. And if he hits her, okay, she just keeps on walking. And if he doesn't hit her, she might be able to get to a good area in time, drop the pallet. And there's just nothing that they're going to be able to do. And she got that buff a while back where her Perfume, she like teleports back to her Perfume. The animation is way shorter, so she can act faster, which means she gets more distance post Perfume. Not to mention Perfume Trick, she can function well as a rescuer as well. The window's very tight, but a lot of perfumers like to try rescuing during their Perfume and eat a hit and then go back. It's not the most consistent in the world, but she can be played like a rescuer. It's, again, not very consistent, but it can work. The Perfumes are just very good. Again, she does have a lot of counterplay. If you blink the Perfumer first hit, there's not much she's going to be able to do. But, you know, you can also blink predict with a Perfume, you know? It just comes down to the player. And I think Vera's character strength is just a solid A. She will always be pretty solid as a kiter. She doesn't really have any form of support. She can body block with Perfumes. I guess that's the best thing that she can do, which can be pretty annoying. But I just think she's a solid A tier. Like, at worst, I would say she's A-. Maybe she could be A-, but I think she's going to be... I would personally put her as a solid A tier survivor. And next up, we have Cowboy. Cowboy, in my opinion, in this current meta, is pretty mediocre. He is fine. He does have some decent strengths. Like, I think as a solo kiter, he is not the worst. He's not the best, but he's not the worst. But I think the issue with Cowboy right now is his harassment. The biggest thing about Cowboy is he does have the one-tap lasso, but if you are not in position for that, it is very easy to react to Cowboy. If you are a good ping, again, this is under the assumption that they are playing under good conditions. They are good players with good ping. We're not rating all these other things. We're rating character strength alone. We're not considering outside factors, right? A good hunter is going to be able to react to Cowboy lasso. It is simple as that. You won't be able to lasso. Like, maybe you can force a couple drops, but most of the time he'll buy 5 extra seconds if you can't one-tap lasso. Now, if you can get a good successful one-tap lasso off, that's not bad. But a lot of the hunters, you know, they can outpace Cowboy. They can catch up very, very quickly to Cowboy, damage him, pick up the person again. And if the Cowboy, you know, harasses again, you can just hit the Cowboy. The person might be able to struggle free, but then the Cowboy gets chair, which forces another person off the cipher. And it's just very risky. I think Cowboys is very risky, and he's not as consistent as other harassers. And he does have a decoding debuff as well, -10. The biggest thing that he also does have is his pallet stun as well. His pallet stuns do last very long. And again, he can be used. I don't think Cowboy is bad. Like, these characters I'd say are like bad that are really hard to win with. Cowboy's not bad. He's just not consistent, and I think that's his biggest thing. That's the biggest thing about Cowboy, is he's just not the most consistent character. But he can work, right? He can work. He's just hard. That's why he's in B tier. Like, I would not consider Cowboy bad. He just needs to put in a lot more work. Next up is going to be Dancer. And this might be a bit of a controversial pick as well, but I think Dancer is extremely, extremely good. I might even say better than Forward. I don't think she's better than Forward, but I think Dancer is extremely good. First off, slow boxes slow down the hunter so much. So incredibly much. Like, unless you're like Wheel or like Clown or like a couple other hunters that doesn't really matter against, slow boxes hurt. They hurt. You can even a lot of the time set up a slow box in the pallet, get a free pallet stun. And it takes so long to break the box and it's so reactable. It's really annoying. Like, as a solo kiter, she's so strong because when she drops down from 2-story air, she gets a speed bonus. She can do faster slow box depending on the hunter. So for example, like, slow box would be better against a lot of the hunters, but maybe a fast box might be better against something like a BQ because you can move faster in your thing, maybe juke the mirror and then spin away. Like, there's a lot that Dancer can do. Even like, I would say potentially fast box could be good against something like even a wax artist. Like, maybe he'd be slower in the slow, but the fast can also maybe help you turn corners a little bit fast. Like, fast box is less useful than the slow box, but sometimes if they're paired together, they can be very, very strong. And a lot of hunters, especially at high level, don't want to break the box because it's like breaking a pallet. They get a free transition if you do that, and that can be really annoying. So a lot of the time when a slow box is paired with a fast box, you kind of have to break it, especially if like they're down in a really strong area. You have to break the pallet and then you have to break the slow box. That's like 5 seconds of time. It takes so long to break both of those things. And against hunters that don't want to do it, Dancer has all this time to just figure out what to do. She's like, oh, the hunter's so slow, I can keep looping. She's like one of the best tight kiters in the game. Not to mention her support with slow box is so crazy. She's even decent as a rescuer because she just drops slow box, the hunter hits her, and then they're just sitting there forever and they just can't double down. Like, it's too slow. They are simply too slow. They can't do anything. Sometimes it's a Sangria Night Watch. I play Sangria Night Watch. Dancer comes in, drops a slow box, I hit the Dancer. I can't catch up to my target in time because I'm too slow. It is that simple. Like, sometimes I get distance just from that. And one of the worst feelings is when the kiter that you're chasing as a hunter is doing so bad and they run into a freaking slow box, fast box, slow box, you're never catching them without trait. Like, that's how it feels. Like, you're gonna have to either just outplay them in a really, really like risky situation. You're gonna have to commit a lot of resources to doing it, and if it doesn't work, or you're gonna get kited, or use like a blink. But even then, blink is very reactable with that like double slow box, so it can just be so hard if a weak kiter runs into a very strong post setup area with boxes. It's gonna be so hard for that hunter to get them. Potentially, they might even have to switch targets because of all that Dancer support. I think Dancer is just so incredibly good right now in this meta. Again, she's not the best character. She does have her bad matchups, but there are so many hunters that she does well against. Her support is so incredibly good. And she just has a couple passives, the spin and the drop down, that just gives her more speed or ways of dodging abilities, which can just be so incredibly helpful against a lot of the hunters. So I would put her A+. I think she is very, very strong in this meta. And next up is going to be Seer. Seer, in my opinion, is top 5. Now, I know Seer has been nerfed a lot. He does have that decoding debuff after each owl. He does have the vaulting debuff. I know owl, when given to another character, the attack recovery is faster on the hunter. But again, it turns a character into a 3-hit survivor. He does have some bad matchups. Projectile hunters can do pretty decent against him. But as a Seer, if you are broken wind, or if you are knee-jerk reflex against, I want to say, 80% of the cast, you should be able to farm up at least another owl, which means you will be 4 hits. That is so incredibly good. And the thing about Seer as well is when nobody is chasing the Seer, he gives first. He can give the owl to the rescuer if it's a really hard person to rescue from to guarantee the rescue. And he can give the owl to the kiter. He can turn any character in this game to basically Psychologist. That is so incredibly useful. That is why he is banned so often. Like, imagine chasing an Acrobat. One of the most difficult characters to chase in this game. He's such an insanely strong kiter. Imagine chasing Acrobat, and you're about to get your hit in. And then owl. and then you blink for second hit, but that Acro keeps on kiting and kiting and kiting because he's just such a strong kiter. Like, yes, Owl isn't as strong as it used to be. Seer is not as strong as he used to be, but it is undeniable that the global support of Owl is just so incredibly useful. It can be used to counter blink even. Some Seers are so strong that they can just counter the blink with an Owl. It is so incredibly strong, dude. And maybe you only get one of them a game, but it is completely game-changing. Global support, being able to support your team from anywhere on the map is so incredibly valuable to me as a player that I will never not see Seer as an S tier survivor until he like just becomes absolutely destroyed into the ground. Unless like Owl gives him like a -30 decoding debuff or something. Like that Owl is just too useful. It is simply too useful. It turns any character into a 3-hit survivor. That is just so incredibly useful, dude, in this meta. It is so he can be played versus any character, even Ivy. Even Ivy, who's considered to be his worst matchup, he's still decent against because you can Owl and then maybe like walk into a tablet, force 100, and the Ivy can't do anything. Like it's so good. You can Owl and like take like a risky vault. You can just Owl and do so many different things, dude. Owl is so incredibly useful. It's such a game-changing ability. He will always be top 5 in my opinion. Seer will always be top 5 in my personal opinion. And if you kite well, you're just gonna win. Like that's just that simple. Like if you are a good rock kiter, you're just going to win because it's just too many hits the hunter has to get in. But yeah, you know, he's just such a versatile character. One of the best characters in the game, without a doubt. Next up is Embalmer. I will put Embalmer in a solid A, potentially A+. I think I'd put him right here, right below. Actually, you know, I think I'm gonna put him. I don't know. Actually, this is tough. Embalmer in tourney, in my personal opinion, is S tier. I think in rank he's A tier. Embalmer is so good at drawing, but he's harder to win with because the coffin doesn't really buy a lot of time for decoding. Now against camping hunters, it's gonna be really good to use coffin against them because obviously they get a lot of their momentum from camping. But then the Embalmer is only gonna have one more chance to kite, which is gonna be really tricky post coffin or whatever. And unless he has some support, it can be really hard. A lot of time, Embalmers also bring full kite, so he's one of the best survivors in the game for securing draws. And if the thing is going well into their favor, he can help win by coffining like somebody who's like, you know, kiting. He can coffin them to the gate, but you know, also hunter, there's no bubble at detention, so the hunter could just, you know, hit TP and then they just die right out of the coffin. So not much there that they can do. But Embalmer is just so good at securing draws. I feel like with an Embalmer on your team, it's pretty hard to lose unless the hunter just outplays you. But I feel like he's very consistent at getting draws. He's not the easiest to get wins with, but he's just very solid because he buys so much time. Embalmer alone is just so good because like he can do a mediocre kite, right? But as long as he died away from his coffin, he could force out warp potentially, and then, you know, take second kite. And then that's just 3 ciphers right there. The rest of your comes in, tide turners him again. Ciphers are like 50 and 50 once he dies. You can easily get a draw from that. Like against most hunters, that's a very easy way to draw because he just buys so much time. He's one of the best characters for pushing Cipher Rush in this game because you don't have to rescue him. Yeah, he's so solid. So incredibly solid. Next up is going to be Prospector. I think Prospector is A tier. I think I would put him probably right here. He could potentially be better, but he might be better than Embalmer actually. I think he's better than it's hard. Prospector is kind of weird. I think Prospector I think I would put him below Embalmer actually. I think Prospector's less consistent than Embalmer. Prospector, again, he's a pretty solid kiter. He doesn't really have any debuffs outside of his decoding. Like, it's harder to get the calibrations, which is not really even a debuff because if you're good at the game, you're not going to miss your calibrations. But he has a lot of good buffs. Like, he has the magnet speed boost every 80 seconds that this makes him look super dummy fast. His magnets buy so much time because it's so easy to get to a pallet or window because it push back or stun Either one is so good. Pushing back into a hunter stun while the Prospector can still keep running is so good. There are thousands and thousands of tricks that you can do with this character. I would even say he's decent at rescuing because you can just push the hunter back and they can't terror shock you. He's able to get rescues at half health. He can harass by so much time. He does have infinite resources technically, and he's such a good character. He is such a good character. He just isn't the strongest character in the game. He does have like some pretty mediocre matchups. You know, Gamekeeper is one of them. Gamekeeper, he really struggles against Gamekeeper. But he does have a lot of positive matchups. You know, Anne is a very, very popular rank hunter. He does very well into Anne. And a good Prospector is always going to be really tricky to down. And even then, just the simple get out of jail free card of just throwing Magnet back and then just pushing you away. Like the hunter takes all this time to catch up, all their resources, throw a Magnet, distance, boom. Now they have to, you know, catch up all the way again, right? That can be really annoying for something like, for example, Night Watch. I play a lot of Night Watch, right? I have to use my resources to catch up the Prospector. I'm about to hit him. Magnet, pushy back. Okay, now I have to wind again, but uh-oh, he had enough distance to turn the corner, so my wind won't do anything. Now I have one wind walk. I have to use it to catch up again. Uh-oh, his second Magnet is finally up, and now I have to just get him down way later and then blink him, you know? Again, he's not the strongest character in this game, but he is very, very solid. I think there's an argument that he could be A+, but I'm going to put him here for now because there is a lot of counterplay. You know, there's a lot of things that the hunter can do. They can also, you know, if it's not the right polarity, the hunter can eat the Magnet, walk back, and then just instantly break the Magnet if the Prospector isn't, like, ready for it. And that can be pretty frustrating for the Prospector because it's kind of a waste of a Magnet. You know, it's a 70-second cooldown. It's pretty long. But I think this Prospector is still just very, very solid in the current meta. So yeah, I would put him there. He could be higher. I think there's definitely an argument for him to be quite a bit higher. Next up is going to be Enchantress. I think Enchantress is kind of whatever. Yeah, I'd put her here in a rank setting. Now in Tourney, this character did get played a lot more because she actually doesn't do too bad into Goatman and Hullabaloo, but against a really good Sangria, like she's just gonna get run down. She can't really do too much to Ivy, and just eats up Enchantress pretty much for free. Like, you can maybe get a stun off before she can jump, but a lot of Anns will seal your abilities and then jump, and then you just can't do anything as an Enchantress. There's just a lot of characters that you just can't, like BQ can just hit you from far away. There's Wax Stars can just wax you from far away, come up, hit. Like, there's just so many strong hunters in this meta right now that just don't care about what Enchantress can do. Now, 3-stack is very powerful. I will say 3-stack is quite powerful. It does buy a lot of distance, but some hunters might even bring excitement for her. Her kiting right now is just a little too weak because she also needs to be said, she starts with nothing, as opposed to almost every other survivor in the game. Enchantress literally starts with nothing. She has nothing at the start of the game, which is what makes her so weak and such an easy target early game. She can be pretty scary late game if she has, like, you know, 4 stacks, whatever, and she's on chair. She's gonna 3-stack off chair and then get tons of distance, then potentially kite a little bit longer with a stack or 2 more. And her support does need to be respected, but again, she's not the most consistent character in the game. Not necessarily bad, but again, she's going to be harder to win with at a high level. Next up, we got Wildling, and I'm putting Wildling in A+ tier. I think Wildling should be... Is Wildling better than Forward? I don't know. I think I put Wildling slightly above Forward, actually. Wildling is so good in this meta, dude. Oh my gosh, Wildling is so good. Again, he does have his bad matchups. He does have bad matchups. But he has so much going for him, dude. He has the highest survivability out of any character in the game. He is probably the easiest character to secure a dungeon escape with. Like, if there is one survivor left, if it's a Wildling, the hunter's 4K chance are like next to nothing. I feel like Explorer, if he's hiding, is really good at getting dungeon or like a, you know, getting a 1-out. Wildling is the same way. Boar is just so stupid. Like, there are very little hunters that can deal with Boar, one of them being Gamekeeper, but even then it's a little tricky to hit the hook. I mean, if he does hit the hook, it's kind of cooked. But you know, it's Wildling is just, he's free kite. He is literally the definition of free kite. You hop on Boar and you are basically invincible as long as you're not gonna like be crazy, or like do something silly. And like with Boar, he can harass too. That is so good. Cause like with Boar, he can harass for so long. He can threaten harassment for so incredibly long. Because what a Wildling can do against a hunter that can't do anything, right? Let's say it's like a geisha, right? Let's say you're up against a geisha, she doesn't have excitement. Wildling can just sit nearby the geisha for 40 seconds, and there's nothing she can do. There's literally nothing. She has to try to chase the Wildling. But when she butterflies, the Wildling can just keep walking away. He's just faster than her. Like, there's nothing that the geisha can do. And that's how it is for a lot of characters. They just can't do anything about Wildling harassment. They simply can't. Like, projectile hunters maybe, wax stars only if he has hot wax maybe. But Wildling is just so consistent. Because he can also mask tinnitus. That is such a good ability. Because let's say you want to sell, right? Let's say you feed tinnitus for 15 seconds, right? You use the whistle, leave the chair. You can go start rotating and start decoding now. A little bit earlier than you normally would be able to, because 10 seconds of no tinnitus means that the hunter has to respect the fact that you could come in for the rescue, which is so good. In that, or even early game, it's like it's hard to find somebody. Maybe post rotation as well. You know, let's say the first person dies. Hunter's like, okay, I gotta find my next target and down them quick. Uh-oh, the Wildling used the whistle. I don't know if anybody's here. And then it's like, uh-oh, okay, that just wastes so much time. And that can be just so annoying. It doesn't even say he does decode very slowly. That's the biggest debuff. Does decode very slowly, but his survivability is so good. His rescuing is so consistent. Like, he only has like a few bad matchups. Gamekeeper, Ivy's not the best. But he even like I know I said some people like, oh, Ripper's really hurts him, but like, dude, Ripper will just Foggy Blade him, you get the rescue, and then it's just a double hit. Like, it's just simply going to be a double hit. Like, he can still guarantee the rescue because Ripper can't swing quickly enough. I mean, it might be a double down, sure, but he still gets the rescue off pretty much guaranteed. So yeah, Wildling is just so incredibly good right now. So incredibly good. Just so many abilities, and only a minus 25 on decoding. I feel like he should have minus 30 for how good his survivability is. It's just so incredibly good. Next up is Acrobat. Acrobat is undeniably S tier. I think I would put him... I'm gonna put him above Coordinator. That might be a bit... that might be a bit of a controversial pick, but I think they're very close. Acrobat's insane. There's an argument. I might put him up in top 5 later, but Acrobat is just... He's so good. He's so strong. He is one of, if not the best kiter in this game. Because he can get so many resources, up to 6, even 3 alone is fine. A good Acro will be able to get 4 with double Firebomb. But he is able to just do something other survivors cannot, and that is just jump over pallets and windows and other areas that are just strong, right? Like a fence that could get you so much to just jump off of it, right? And not only that, he can leave behind the after effect, right? Let's say you need to take a vault through a window, and you know the hunter has to take the vault too unless they blink. Use an interaction bomb. That'll buy you distance, they go slower. Let's say you go down an alleyway, use a slow bomb. The hunter, you get distance from the bomb, and the hunter will be slower because of the slow bomb. Let's say you're up against a really, crazy, scary projectile hunter, right? Or you're scared about someone that can like use their abilities to kill you. Well, you just red bomb, and then they can't use their abilities. Even for rescues, he's pretty decent because he can red bomb the hunter, and they can't do anything. One of the things I was really terrified of one time, I was going up against this really crazy Wuchong, this S-Badge Wuchong. He was going to Soul Siphon me. I was not going to make the rescue. I firebombed him, and the Soul Siphon was like incomplete at 80%, and I was able to get the rescue. He is such a strong kiter that he can also bring Tide Turner. He can bring Tide Turner. That's how good of a kiter he is. He can literally bring Tide Turner because his kiting is so strong. Nobody wants to chase Acrobat. He is so incredibly strong. And if you give him a kiting build, Flywheel Knee Jerk, oh man, it's so incredibly hard for the hunter to down him, dude. So incredibly hard. And all of that for the cost of a minus 30% on gate, which does matter. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter. It does definitely matter. However, I would rather take a gate opening debuff every single time over a decoding debuff. Because a lot of the time, half the battle is getting to end game, when you're a survivor. But if you decode so fast, if you cipher so fast, it's not going to matter. So yeah, Acro is just so incredibly good. He can approach the chair as well. Like as a rescuer, he can do pretty decent approaching the chair. Not against all hunters. Like he can still get stuff. It's not going to be always easy. Hunters do have some good abilities, but Acrobat is one of the best stars in the game that can deal with them. He just has so many freaking tools in his kit. In my personal opinion, he will always be S tier unless they nerf him. He is just so crazy good. And next up, it is going to be First Officer. I think this one might be a little bit controversial, but I think First Officer is S tier in rank. I think he is just so incredibly strong. He is pretty much able to guarantee almost every single rescue. And if the thing is, here's the thing, if Officer ever gets chased, that is the freest draw. For example, Officer does have some very tricky matchups, right? Clown is one of them. Anne is another one as well. He's not really the best against those characters because Anne can just use cats, find him out, boom, jump, dead. Clown, you know, you can't juke a clown because he's just a constant walking hitbox. It's going to be insanely difficult to deal with a clown as a first officer. And you might not be able to get the rescue guaranteed. So it's not like he's perfect versus everybody. But literally, if Officer ever gets chased, he has a 72-second base chair time. You just sell, and then you get your draw. That's it. An Officer could literally pop first watch. He can have a 40-second kite as Officer. Not very good kite, right? 40 seconds, not the best. Sell him, that's the free draw. You present Starve the Hunter, they can't do anything. That's a free draw. So Officer will never get chased, and he can almost always get rescues. He's also one of the only rescuers that gets faster at decoding after he rescues. Whenever he uses a pocket watch, he gets a 7% decoding buff. That is so incredibly useful. That's why if Officer gets first rescue, you die away with Tide Turner and he can go back to his cipher and start decoding it faster. And he gets 2 of those. He has a -20 debuff, but if he, after both watches, he'll only have -6. A -6 decoding on a rescuer is crazy, dude. Absolutely crazy. He is also one of the best characters to play at endgame because the Officer can literally wait at mid. Let's say, like, you know, one person's on the gate, one person's kiting, other one's dead, first Officer's waiting mid. The Hunter kills the kiter, and they have 2 options. They can either chase the person in mid who's feeding tinnitus, or they can teleport. Well, if they teleport to the person on the gate, that person kites a little bit longer, first Officer gets to rescue, other person goes to the other gate, first Officer goes back to mid, or waits at gate depending on how long the person kites, and the Hunter has no more trait, right? Or they chase the Officer, but guess what? I have one more, if I have one more pocket watch, since I only use one earlier for the rescue, if I have another pocket watch, I wait mid and I walk out the gate for free because I juke you all the way to the gate, and then at the very last second, I have 5 seconds of Tide because the Hunter will hit me with during my watch, but the 5 seconds of Tide means I walk right out. I did it like, I was playing Officer today, I did it like twice, where I just waited mid and then used pocket watch to leave. It was literally free. I even got a win because of it. It was the difference between a draw and a win. It is so incredibly strong. Again, he can get Terror Shocked because the second you touch the chair, he can get Terror Shocked. And he does have, you know, so it's not gonna, you can stuff an Officer, it is possible, but he's pretty hard to stuff. And his watch is so strong that it's really hard to hit him when he's approaching the chair. He's one of the best characters in the game to be able to approach the chair. Just such a strong, incredibly consistent rescuer. Again, not the best matchups versus something like a Clown or an Anne, but he can even do with something like a Gamekeeper, right? Because Gamekeeper, let's say, you know, you rescue, you get Terror Shocked by the hook, right? But if you still have the watch, if you pop the watch before the Gamekeeper hits you, you won't go down. It'll be a double down, sure, but at least you get the rescue. And that's why Officer is just so incredibly strong right now. So incredibly strong. And I would put him, I think I'd put him right here. I put him above Mechanic. So because this is ordered right now, I would put him right there. I think I'd put him right below Coordinator. He could be maybe above here, but I'm gonna put him right here. I think Zeus did put him lower. I forget exactly why, but I personally consider Officer to be S tier in rank. I think he is just so incredibly strong. Next up, we got Barmaid. I think Barmaid is A tier. I think she's gonna be right here. I think that's a good spot for Barmaid. Barmaid's solid. She doesn't really have any buffs. Nothing like that. The most she has is a debuff when she drinks, and then she decodes 5% slower for each bottle being drank, which is true for anyone else drinking the bottle. But Barmaid is very good when paired with rescuers because the rescuer can usually get second rescue. Let's say, you know, you're paired with a Mercenary. Let's say you have like Barmaid, Merc, Acro, and third person, right? Like Decoder. Let's say that. Let's say Decoder gets chaired. Merc goes in for the rescue, Tide Turner. The Decoder runs to a better area with Tide Turner, dies. Merc goes to pick up a bottle from the Barmaid at mid, and then he goes for a second rescue because he can hide while he's healing up with the bottle, get the second rescue, potentially body block for the Decoder, and maybe the Decoder can kite a little bit longer, or the Decoder like alone just gets to a better area. Mercenary comes back to mid, gets a bottle, Decoder dies, but everybody's full health. Like, you injured the Mercenary twice, but everybody's full health for like late game, right? Like, maybe they only need 100% more left, but everybody's full health. You don't really have a good chase. Maybe you could go chase the Mercenary and, like, oh, maybe you could, like, try to use up all his level pads, make him bleed out, do something. But no, he's at full health now. And that's incredibly true for, like, aggressive hunters. Some hunters want to be very aggressive, get some extra damage on survivors. With a Barmaid on the team, she can heal so well. And against a lot of hunters as well, she can make the drink when she's cutting. She can heal herself with the drink. And if the hunter doesn't have their blink ready, sometimes they just can't catch up in time. Like, it is that simple. Barmaid is just very, very solid. Again, she's not the strongest. There are a lot of hunters that can catch up to her. There's a lot of hunters that can deal with her. A lot of hunters that are just simply too strong and outpace her. But she's solid. And if you outplay the hunter, maybe win a mind game or two, you can do very, very well. And potentially even get a second drink off during your kite, which is just really good. It is really, really, really good. So yeah, Barmaid, I'm going to put her 8. I think she's very solid. Next up, we have Postman. Postman, in my opinion, is really, really good in this meta. I think I'm going to put him... right here, A tier. I think last time I thought of a character, I put Postman like in B tier or C tier. I think Postman is so incredibly good right now. The Wick buff is so good. I'm telling you, that buff that they gave him literally turned Postman from a mediocre, like kind of mid character, like kind of bad character almost, into a good character. Because think about it, right? If Postman has a kiting build, a letter, and his dog, he has 3 resources to kite with. If you have flywheel or knee jerk, right, you have those. You have letter, and then you have dog. All 3 of those things you can cycle between because they're all on cooldowns. Dog, if you hit it, it's a 45-second cooldown. If you're able to cycle through each of your thing, let's say I use knee jerk, right? I get my first set of distance. And then I give myself a letter for a speed boost to help me get to the next area. I give a running letter, I make it to the next area, I drop the pallet, and then I go to the next area, drop another pallet, take the pallet vault, knee jerk, right? And then zoom, I need a little bit more distance. I use my dog. My dog helps me get to the next area or help me get to like the next pallet, right? And if I can just kite a little bit longer, guess what will be back up again? My other knee jerk, right? And then I can use that speed boost to allow me to kite longer, which means my letter will come back, and then you just cycle through everything, right? Like, he can just cycle through and always have like a resource almost every 15 seconds if you're able to time it right. And that's what makes him so incredibly strong, because the dog buys so much time. If you hit the dog, it's a 1-second stun, which is like prisoner stun, but 3 seconds of slowdown. That is actually huge, even against something like an opera singer, because the opera will be stuck, potentially canceled her dash, and then she has to walk slowly for 3 seconds. And if you hit any other hunter with that, they're going to be slow for 3 seconds. It's like a slow bomb with aggro. It's so incredibly useful. Again, he isn't the strongest kiter out there, but he also offers something that I really like, that is global support. He is like Seer. He can support anybody from anywhere on the map as long as his letter is ready. Let's say you need a knee jerk, you want a bit of a boost, give the kiter a knee jerk, give the rescue a rescue letter, give the dungeon letter to somebody so they can open up the exit gate faster or go to dungeon, you know? There are so many useful letters that this character has, and even though he's a little bit RNG based, he can just be so good. And even then, he can decode faster too. He gives a 10% boost to himself for 30 seconds, 10% boost to somebody else for a second. That's a 20% total boost on decoding for 30 seconds. 30 seconds is a long time. 30 seconds of 20% boosted decoding, even if you don't fully optimize it, right? That is still a pretty sizable buff for a character that is not even considered a decoder. That is so good, dude. That is so incredibly good. So yeah, I think Postman's really solid right now in this meta. I think he's really, really solid after the buffs that he got like a few months ago. That I would put him A tier. I think it is arguable that Postman, Prospector, Embalmer, and Gunner could all be put into A+ as well. I do think Barmaid and Perfumer are definitely A, but I think there's an argument for all these characters to be higher. I could definitely see it. Next up is going to be Gravekeeper. Now, this might be a little controversial, but this is just my opinion. I think Grave is S tier. I think Grave is S tier in this meta. I think he's so good. I think he's actually better than Officer right now. Grave is so good. They just keep buffing him. I don't know why they kept buffing this character. He's so good right now. All he has is a -20 decoding debuff. He's a 4-hit survivor, right? And he can be a kiter because he can what Grave can do is he can, if you decide, let's say, oh, I want to chase the Grave, right? Grave hops in for a shovel, and you don't hit the shovel. He used the speed boost just to transition for a little bit to the next area, right? That's all he does. He uses it for the speed boost. He drops a couple of pallets, right? You have to break both pallets, and then he gets back in his other shovel that's like full on stamina, and then he just kind of, you know, tight kites under the pallets, force you to break pallets, whatever. You hit that shovel, right? And then you catch up to him, you get the second hit. But then guess what's up? Oh, his other shovel that remained. Oh, okay, I see. You're gonna have to hit that one too. That's 4 hits. And he can even get distance with that shovel at the last second too, which means you won't even get a hit. He can almost always guarantee blink out. You can't interrupt his shovel to cancel it anymore. You can cancel it, but he doesn't lose it anymore. He only loses a little bit of durability from it. He doesn't lose his shovel anymore. So he's really hard to chase now, because if you chase him, he's 4 hits. That's almost guaranteed to do 3 ciphers. You just sell the Gravekeeper. It's the same logic with Officer. If you chase a Gravekeeper, it's a draw at best. That's the best you can get, is a draw. Unless you're just like have insane level endgame, or like you stuff a rescue or whatever. Or they don't even have to. Typically they'll just sell. Like a lot of the time in a standard paced game, unless the hunter just does something crazy. Again, if you chase a Gravekeeper, it's probably going to be a draw. And that's like really, really crazy, because Grave right now is so good at rescuing too. Most hunters can't cut off a Gravekeeper because he just gets inside his shovel. Like Wax Artist, right? Wax, and all these characters that are so incredibly strong, Grave can't do anything against. And can even like throw, like, you know, have cats waiting, hit the shovel, Grave might pop out, and then he could maybe potentially get double hit. But he also has the fast speed rescue. Whenever he comes out of the shovel, he can rescue faster. He can also explode out of the shovel and push the hunters a little bit back. So if they're close enough to the chair, you could explode and then potentially get a free rescue off without even getting damage, and then body block for free. Like, this character has just been buffed so much, I want to say, in the past like year or year and a half or whatever, that I think he's S tier right now. I think he's so incredibly good right now in this meta. He is so strong. He is simply so strong. Yeah, he's just honestly probably the second best rescuer in the game right now. I think he's just so incredibly good. More people need to be playing Gravekeeper. I don't know why more people aren't playing Gravekeeper, because he's just so good right now in this meta. And minus 20 isn't even that bad on decoding. If it's their only debuff on the team, it's really not that bad. Next up is Prisoner. This one is going to be controversial as well, I think. But I think Prisoner is A+ tier. I actually think he's better than Lawyer. No, actually, he's better than Lawyer. This is probably one of the most controversial picks on the list. Prisoner is, in my opinion, really, really stupid, because he has long distance decoding. That on its own is so stupid. Do you understand how dumb long distance decoding is for hunters that want to pressure down the final cipher? Let's say, you know, you chair somebody, you want to pressure down the final cipher, right? And then Prisoner started up a new cipher. Let me go chase the Prisoner, since that one's 50, this one's only 70. He can push the other one now. Or let me go chase someone else. He can push the last cipher. If the hunter ever commits to anything that isn't the cipher, he can push it. Like, what's really annoying as well is, like, let's say the cipher is 95, right? And it's like, oh, there's this person. If I kill them, chair them on the cipher, that'll be awesome. The Prisoner connected to it and popped it before I could kill them, and now it's 3% in game. Prisoner can also finish up the rescue cipher. Prisoner can finish up ciphers that are unsafe. He has long distance decoding. Long distance decoding is so stupid. It is so incredibly stupid. He connects ciphers for his teammates to finish. Like, if he's getting chased, and if he's getting hit with Titaner, well, let me just connect ciphers real quick so that we can push this unsafe cipher that I'm sort of near. But if the hunter goes to break the connection, it's a free rescue onto me. You know? It's so stupid, dude. And a lot of the times, Prisoner can kite inside his electricity, and the hunters will be forced to break it, right? Even something like a Percy, like a lot of like mediocre mid hunters that are like could maybe outgimmick Prisoner. He can just sit around side his electricity. Even Clown, right? Clown, who has been seeing a lot more play recently in rank. If Prisoner just sits inside his little shock area when the Clown comes at him, let me just shock him once to cancel his dash, and then I just walk right around my shock area. And even if he doesn't, if he goes to break my thing, I'm in my shock. I get a little bit of my shock charge back. He has to break the cipher connection, and then he has to put on new parts for his rocket. And I can transition all the while to a better area where I can drop a pallet, maybe take a hit, and then maybe die soon after, but then my shock will be back up for rebound, you know? Like, the shock, I'm telling you, dude, shock is such a strong ability. It is so good. It can be used to harass. It can be used to gain distance. It can be used to cancel Hunter's abilities. It can be used to shock into pallet stun if timed right. Shock is so good. Prisoner's such a good kiter. He has no debuff. He literally has no debuff at all. And if you're a full kite prisoner in a strong area with shock, that's a draw. Like even Opera Singer, for example, can't do anything about him. Again, he's not the strongest character in the game. He still is mostly raw kiting outside of his shock. Sometimes shock won't even be that helpful against something like Wax Artist maybe. But there are so many hunters that he can do with Opera Singer. He can shock to cancel her dash. Gamekeeper, looks like he hit me with his hook. Let me shock, and then I get enough distance potentially. If I have a flywheel, maybe I can shock into flywheel, and then he can't hit me. Or shock into something. He always has something to counter the hunter if he has that shock. That shock is just so good. It is 1 second of stun. And sometimes it's not the best, but sometimes it can literally just like be that last little thing that gets you to a pallet or a window that is so helpful. It is basically like having flywheel, but better in your kit almost. Because you know what else you can do? Wheel's coming out with full presence, shock to cancel his full presence. There's so many things that Prisoner can do with that shock. And you know the cooldown is very long. A lot of the times, what Prisoners can do is set up a connection mid-kite. Like, let's say it's like you drop a pallet, Hunter has to break it, set up connection, tap the Cypher real quick, and then it comes back faster. Like, a lot of high-level Prisoners I've seen do that, and it's crazy. And, like, he probably gets 3 shocks a game if he takes kite. That's like 3 flywheels almost, if used correctly. Why do you think Persica is so dangerous on this character? Why nobody wants to chase Persica? Because Prisoner isn't that bad of a kiter. He's a good kiter. He is so freaking good. And the thing is, if you don't chase the Prisoner, you're gonna get Cypher rushed pretty hard, because he can finish up on safe Cyphers, he can finish up Rescuer Cyphers, he can finish up Cyphers that the Hunters want to finish. Long distance decoding is fundamentally game breaking, because he is able to affect a Cypher that you need to work on from on the other side of the map. Like I said, if you have a form of global support or global ability, you are automatically very good. Postman can affect things global with his letters. Seer, global support with the owl. Prisoner, global decoding. He can affect it. That's why Faro Lady isn't as strong as Composer, because she has to take away something from another Cypher, while still good, isn't as effective as Prisoners, because he can add to a Cypher that's far away. That will always be such a strong ability. I know this one's controversial. I think Prisoner is so good. I think Prisoner is so incredibly good in rank. Next up is Melly. Melly, I think post buff is A- tier. I really hate to put her here. I really do. But Melly is just not as strong in the current meta. I do think she has the potential to be A tier, maybe even A+. But for now, I think I have to put her here because I haven't seen enough players be able to utilize her new buff to the fullest. But I do think at the peakest level, Entomologist could be very, very strong. But it's just poor Melly. Poor Melly just doesn't have a lot of the tools against a lot of the hunters. I think I will put her A tier at least. Actually, I think I will put her A tier, because she does have a lot. She can support, she can harass with bees. She combos well with good character. Like she combos well with Gardener. She combos well with forward, because she can like stun into pushback. Like her harassment does buy time. It is very good. She herself is a pretty decent kiter, but she does have quite a few bad matchups, right? Like there's a lot of hunters that can just quite easily deal with the bees, and unless the Melly's very good at reactions, like yeah, I imagine, you know, assuming like she's really good at reactions, she can pull back her bees at the right time. But a lot of hunters' swing speeds aren't reactable. For example, Opera, Gamekeepers is hard but not impossible. A lot of the time they have to predict when the hunter's going to swing to pull back their bees. Because what a lot of Mellies do, the most common one is let your bees take one hit, and then right when you know the timing of the second hit, that's when you pull back your bees, right? That's what a lot of Mellies like to do. But some will also choose to sack off their bees or risk their bees or try to react to your swing, which the best Mellies react to your swing. Those are the best Mellies. But again, there's just too many hunters that outpace her. Like I think in a good area she can actually do okay versus Opera Singer, but you know she still gets run down by Opera. Versus Anne, she's good at early game, but late game Anne she's not very good against. BQ hurts her. Wax Artist is 50-50. Yeah, there's just Like, her speed is really nice, and I still think she's very solid overall, but she doesn't really have anything that's just, like, insane, right? She doesn't have any game-breaking, like, crazy thing that's just so insanely helpful in rank. But I think she's very solid. I think she'll go right here. I think she'll go right below Perfumer. I do think she's very solid, though. Obviously, I wish Melly was top 5, but, you know, in my heart, she's top 5. But in a rank setting, I think I'd put her A tier for now. Next up is Painter. Painter, I think I would put in A- tier. Painter, in my opinion, is very good in tourney, but in rank, he's not as strong. He's not as strong, definitely not. I think I'm actually going to put him below Explorer. His chair buff is really good. His chair like gimmick is really good because he doesn't have like a before half, after half kind of thing. He pairs so well with something like an Embalmer for like a free draw. The paintings aren't as bad as people think. He does not deserve 3 paintings. He like if you pair him with Snooze, he has a long time on that chair. 2 paintings is enough. Again, he's not the strongest character. He is rather weak, but a lot of the painting as well. People always like Hunter can avoid looking at the painting, right? But you can use that to your advantage because like the painting, the stun is like what 3 seconds. It's a decently long stun. Hunter can catch up pretty quickly afterwards. But a lot of the time, you can dance inside of the painting. And force the hunter to look at it, right? That's what a lot of painters will do is they'll like run around their painting. The hunter will be so scared they can't really look at you because they look at you, they look at the painting. And they can buy more time kiting inside of their painting. Like that is so useful. And it is so useful for rescuers who have to rescue Painter because he can be rescued whenever the rescuer feels like it, whenever the Painter feels like it, whenever they think the best time to rescue will be. They can do is that. They just do that. So sometimes people instant rescue Painter, and then the second rescue, they just feed Tinnitus for like 50 seconds and then come to rescue. So the hunter can't do anything for like 50 seconds. And if you do that late game, oh man, that's a lot of Cypher progress, bro. That's a lot of free Cypher progress. Again, he isn't the strongest character in the game. He's definitely on the weaker end in terms of ranks, but I still think he has enough in his kit to be a viable character. Plus, the little passive speed boost that he gets after putting down his paintings definitely does help as well. It definitely helps. Just getting to palettes and windows a little bit quicker. Definitely helps. Next up is going to be Batter. And Batter, I think, is going to go right below Prospector. I think they're basically fundamentally the same character. They harass, they buy a lot of time. Batter, against me, is like S tier. I think Batter is like, oh my gosh, so annoying. But Batter's a really hard chase. He's very hard to chase because his vaulting is so fast. A good batter is always going to be able to be very patient with the ball and use it on reaction to a lot of swings as opposed to just getting it for distance. Like most S-Badge batters that I fight, they wait till I'm like right on top of them. I go for a swing, but they interrupt my swing with a ball. And then I just can't do anything. Like it just kind of feels really bad. His harassment is really strong. Altruism speed boost goes crazy when he needs to harass. Again, he is one of the highest skill survivors at high level. Maybe at low level, he's like kind of free because hunters don't know how to deal with him. And like mid level, I would even say like people just don't know how to deal with him. I myself don't know how to deal with him, but like high level hunters do know how to deal with him. And it takes a lot of skill to play Batter, but he does have a lot of strong tools to work with as well. Especially if you play like Flywheel, you can, Flywheel, Ball, Rage, Ball. You have a lot of ways to get out of jail, even if you're just trying to harass. You can just spend a lot of time harassing. It's just harassing characters aren't as good in this meta, which is why I can't really put them higher. But I still think he's still very solid. I still think he's a solid A tier so far, in my personal opinion, because when the harassment does go off against a lot of these hunters, it hurts them. It really hurts them, dude. It really hurts them. Plus, Batter can kind of cycle between his items almost indefinitely unless the hunter breaks it. And if they do decide to break it, hey, it's like the same dancer logic. You can now rotate to a better area because they spent all that time breaking the ball. So yeah, Batter I think is really good. Next up is going to be Toy Merchant. And I'm going to put Toy Merchant right here below Painter. Now, this is tricky because I don't see a lot of Toy Merchants in rank. But I don't think Toy Merchant is that strong of a character. I'm going to be so real. I even think she might be B tier. The only reason I'm putting here at A- here is simply because of her secondary rescue potential, because she can drop a catapult and fly in toward the chair, and there's not a lot of things that hunters can do about it. But also, if you spawn her in a strong area, she's gonna be very, very good. Like if she spawned like as the weakest character on the team comp, you spawn in a good area like hospital, factory, big boat. Like toy motion big boat is very good. There are big boat loops that just even hunters like Geisha sometimes struggle with dealing with. Like she can just be so strong in those good areas. Hotel as well. Hotel toy merchant was very popular in the past, I remember. And her catapults can be very, very helpful for her teammates into getting, distance. But if she is the solo kiter and isn't really in the best area, which kind of happens sometimes, like it just happens sometimes, really isn't the strongest. She only is a rock kiter outside of her catapults. And a lot of hunters can just run her down. Even something like a Wax Artist can shoot her out of the air. Hermit can shoot her out of the air. Like the projectile hunters can deal with her a lot. And some hunters can even just hit her while she's mid catapulting and then she just dies. And it just kind of feels really bad. So again, she's not bad, but she just kind of gets outpaced, which I feel like that's like the logic of a lot of these like A-, even some of the A tiers. Like I would not consider a single character in this to be bad. They just don't have a lot of consistent abilities versus all the hunters to be able to keep up, So yeah, that's what I would say for Toy Merchant. Next up is Patient. Patient post buff is a lot better, but I don't think he's the best anymore. I think I used to rate this character like in S tier. I think he was like top. I don't remember where I put him. I think he's A+ tier though. I think I'd actually put him right below. No, I put him. This is hard actually. Is he better than Prisoner? I think he is. I think I'd put him right there. I think I'll put him right below Dancer. Patient's still very good. He can just gain distance. Distance is very important against a lot of the hunters. Again, not all of them, but a lot of the hunters, it can be very good. And he's not the best character in the game, but 3 hooks, getting distance. There's a lot of trick hooks that you can do in just powerful areas. He's decent at rushing because he can approach the chair pretty well. He's actually considered a secondary rescuer. Doesn't have any debuffs outside of decoding with other female characters, I believe. I think a Cowboy also had. I think Cowboy gets a buff decoding with female characters. I don't think anybody has like a male debuff, do they? Or no, Cowboy. Oh, Cowboy has like a weird thing when he's carrying males, I think. I forget. But yeah, Patient, he just distanced the character. And against a lot of the hunters, that just works. He can just do really well at getting distance and getting rescues. He's just good. He just is good. He's just good. He's not like broken, he's just good. He's just a very solid survivor. And I think that's just all I can really say about Patient, honestly. Does have his niche buffs with Ada as well. But yeah, I would put him A+ tier. I'm going to put Ada in S tier. She is without a doubt S tier. I think I would put her right above Mechanic. So I think Zeus disagreed on his tier list. I personally think Ada is S tier no matter what. What you can do with this character is just ridiculous. Like she has like one bad match, like only a few bad matchups, and like her worst matchup is Breaking Wheel. Like that's really it. Like Breaking Wheel is like probably like the biggest thing that kind of hurts her because he just has to not care about her stress. Just put 2 spikes, hit, put 2 spikes, hit, put 2 spikes, hit, and she's dead. And a lot of Ada's carry broken borrowed, so that not a lot of them are gonna have Flywheel, so can't really do much for the Breaking Wheel. But I'm telling you, dude, Ada is literally the definition of free. Like she was my first S badge because 3-hit survivor is so stupid. It's like getting a Seer Owl every kite. She's only raw kite. So if you have good routing, this is what happened when I played Ada. I was taught by Schmitty and Sprincer and Aaron from RVL. The number one thing to do as Ada is delay the first hit as long as possible. Doesn't matter how it's done. If you got a pallet spam to do it, do it. If you got to waste both knee jerks to do it, do it. If you can delay that first hit as long as possible, that is the number one thing you can do as Ada. Because the thing is, if let's say, you're Ada, you get hit early, but then you transition with that stress, and then your second hit is kind of hit very early. Like it's like 15 seconds in the game you hit it. That means your stress is going to constantly go down, and the hunter won't have to wait out your stress as long, right? But let's say the hunter hits you 40 seconds into the game. You take your first hit 40 seconds in, and then they use blink for their next hit. Boom, you get blink, and then it's like okay, post rotation was 20 seconds. Kite was 30 seconds. Let's say second hit is blink. they still can't catch up. Like, let's say now they have their presence ability, right? So now they can catch up, right? For example, Night Watch. Let's say I hit Ada once, blink for second hit. I can use my dash to catch up to her. Uh-oh, she still has stress for another 10 seconds. Do I hit the Ada while she still has stress, potentially giving her a double, making me have to hit her twice later? Or do I wait out the stress and let her get to a better area with that stress? That's what's so good about Ada in this meta, is because 3 hits is so strong. Just by simply spawning in a somewhat decent area, walking in a straight line, you don't even need to like do that well, just walk in a straight line and drop pallets, that's 60-second kite, that's it. The only thing is that it slightly feeds more presence to the hunter, which, you know, could hurt in the late game. But there's a reason why Ada is played so often in tournaments, and there's a lot of people who still don't think Ada is a strong character because all she has is that stress and the global healing, obviously. Global Whistle is also very, very strong. But a 3-hit survivor taking kite, that's so good. Versus Sangria, versus Night Watch, versus anything in the game that isn't really Breaking Wheel. It is so incredibly useful. And, you know, even some niche things like, oh, look, mechanics on my team. If I chase a Psychologist, or if I chase the rescue, let's say the rescuer takes damage, while the mechanic is out there decoding, what if I whistle to the rescuer after post-rescue? They can go for a second rescue, but it also gives mechanic a buff to her decoding. 25% buff, just with a whistle. That's obviously very niche, but it can work. And like, she can make the rescuer rescue twice if she doesn't get chased, which means the person who decodes the slowest is the one rescuing again, which means more Cypher Rush. She's so good in this meta. She's 3 hits, but it can also help the rescuers so much. Help the person who's dead on chair if they get away, she can whistle to them. And then they're healed, they're healthy. She's so incredibly useful. She can whistle to a Mercenary endgame if he's at half health, have him wait mid, let's say Psych's at the gate, Merc's waiting mid, and then let's say a person is kiting, they die, Mercenary wants to threaten middle, but uh-oh, I'm gonna die to detention hit. Nope, whistle to Mercenary, now I don't die to detention, now we can walk out, get our free draw, or potentially even a win with that logic, you know? There are so many ways to use Psychologist. She is such a safe survivor. She is undoubtedly S tier, and in my personal opinion, she will always be S tier unless she is nerfed. I think she's just so strong. She is just such a strong, consistent, safe survivor in this game. The only thing she does is slightly feed more presence to Hunter. That is it. Stress is an ability that needs to be respected by the Hunters, and it is incredibly annoying for them. And even though some Hunters can run her down, even though Broken Windows might not be enough, she almost but guarantees 60 seconds. She really, really does. As long as you just gain distance and use pallets properly, if your routing isn't trash, if the Ada knows what she's doing, it should be 60 seconds unless it's like a Breaking Wheel. Okay, next up is going to be Novelist. I think Novelist is very good. I think I'd put Novelist right here. Actually, I'm gonna put him right below Magician. I think Novelist is very good in this meta. Again, he does have, actually no. Right here. He's not better than Wildling because this is rank, not tourney. In tourney, I'd put him better than Wildling. In rank, I think I'd put Novelist right here in A+. Now, Novelist is very, very good. He has a lot of good matchups, a lot, but there is a good amount of counterplay to Novelist as well. What a lot of hunters will do is if they have any way of turning around, they will always turn around while chasing Novelist. Clerk, Nightmare, Bonbon, Anne, you know, so many hunters will, Geisha, you know, they'll walk toward the Novelist without looking at them, right? You know who can't really do that too well? Sangria, Night Watch. They can't really red light while chasing him unless they have like warp or something and they're like red lighting with warp. But a lot of hunters can do that while countering him. Gamekeeper will like, you know, hold his hook out away from the Novelist so he can't charge up his book. And then they get like distance that way. That's what a lot of hunters will do. So many hunters have ways of holding their ability and then turning around and moonwalking, not giving Novelist a chance to farm up his book. However, a lot of the hunters, if they do that, they won't be able to get as much distance because they won't be able to see exactly where you're going. So you can kind of play around it a little bit. It doesn't really work all the time, especially if you're not out in a great area. But Novice can kind of play around that. And when breaking a pallet, like if you force a hunter to break a pallet, that's like 20% book right there. So if you have like a strong area, you drop a couple pallets, that's like 50% of your book right there. Like he should be able to get 3 to 4 books on average against a good hunter, potentially even more in a single game. Now, he does have his bad matchups, obviously. Like, he struggles against Ivy somewhat. I think he's actually not the worst into Ivy, as bad as people think, but it's not great. He does struggle a lot against something like a Dream Witch. Dream Witch is very bad for Novelist. And there's a couple other ones as well, you know. But it does have a lot of ways of dealing with Hunters. He can cancel Hunter's abilities. Like, I've canceled Teleport a few times, which has saved games with my Novelist. He's really strong against a lot of the strong Hunters right now as well. You know, you got Opera Singer very strong right now. Clown is coming back into the meta. People are so scared of Clown right now. He can cancel Clown's freaking dash. Even that's only once, you know, cancels Infinite Rocket, especially early game. Like, Clown is gonna have to re-put that back on. And then by the time the Novelist, he can back up the Novelist, might have Flywheel. He can cancel it again with Flywheel if he's good. And then potentially from another book from that. You know, there's just so much that Novelist can do. His item is so reusable, so helpful. It can support his teammates as well. If you have great power, it's going to be really nice because you can do the swap into Pallet Stun when you're sitting there forever. And just the Pallet Stun alone can get him like 50% of his book back. And then he'll just take a vault. And then it's like, okay, now I got to catch up to him. Uh-oh, his book's back. He's solid. He's very solid. Again, he does have bad matchups. That's why I'm not going to put him in S tier. But I think he's a very solid rank survivor. I think he's very, very solid and can deal with, I would say, a majority of the Hunters in rank. I'd say like at least 70% of the Hunters in rank he can deal with. Next up is going to be Little Girl, Little Child, Small Child, and Small Child, you're getting B tier. I actually think she's better than Cowboy. I'm gonna put Little Girl in B tier. I think Little Girl is slightly underestimated right now. Just because being able to like use the abilities that she has, her abilities just, like aren't bad. Like on paper, you would think Little Girl is supposed to be broken, right? Because she has a kiting ability, she can teleport to anybody on the map, and she can leech onto people and have them kite for her. But it still doesn't really seem to work out to the best because her pages are pretty easily counterplayed. Pages are at their most effective when she's dual kiting because like you're basically fighting two survivors at once because she can page push you back while you're still trying to like, you know, deal with the other survivor. Like for example, a really annoying combo is any distance gaining character paired with Little Girl. Like let's say Patient Little Girl, Cowboy Little Girl, you know, that she leeches onto them. You're trying to down Little Girl. Now you have somebody at full health. You have to hit that person. And then like, but they're getting so much distance, and every time you catch up, Little Girl presses a page. So you have to, you know, walk backwards, which makes you lose more distance. And then the character uses their distance getting item, which gets you even more distance. So she can be used, but again, as a solo kiter, she's kind of mid. Does have a lot of tricks. She now got that buff where she can vault during like the animation of her page pushing, which helps her out a little more. So she's not the worst, but she's like pretty hard to win because she just, again, her abilities just get simply outpaced. They just simply get outpaced no matter what. But she does have a lot of utility, and I don't think she's the worst character in the game, but she's definitely not the best. Next up is going to be Weeping Clown, and I'm going to put Weeping Clown right under Forward, maybe even better than Forward, actually. Yeah, Weeping Clown is so good. Minus 15 on decoding is really not that bad for how good his 3 items are. He has 3 rockets. Rockets get you so much distance. They can be turned more than you think they can. Like they can route in between stuff pretty well. They can stun the hunter for balloon harassment. They travel so far. Like you can harass them so far away with Weeping Clown. I mean, it is pretty hard to do, but like it is possible to at least buy a few extra seconds. And you can, you know, take people on the joyride with your rocket with you, which gets them so much freaking distance, more distance than any other character can buy in this entire game. And he can be played like a rescuer. Borrowed Time Tide Weeping Clown is so good because he literally, I wonder what I do. There's the hunter, they're on the chair. I wonder what I do. I'm gonna throw a rocket at them. And then I get the rescue for free. If they don't have excitement, or if they dodge, you know, what some Weeping Clowns do just to force a free rescue is they'll just rocket into the hunter. Like they'll force themselves to rocket into the hunter. And then it's like, oh, they hit me, but I get the rescue, you know, guaranteed. Let's say it's like a hunter you're really scared of getting Terror Shock from. Boom, doesn't matter, I just rocket them and I get the rescue. He's so good as a rescuer, dude. He is so incredibly good as a rescuer. He's really hard to chase too because he's so fast. Not all the hunters can chase him. He is so incredibly fast right now. And again, there are a lot of hunters that have tools to beat him, but he also has tools to beat them as well, which is why he's a little riskier. He's definitely a little riskier. but he's so strong. He can just gain so much distance, and I have to put him A+. Like he's just very, very solid right now. Very, very solid character. Next up is going to be Professor. This one will also be a little controversial potentially, because I know professors tend to underutilize him, but I think Professor is very good. I'm gonna put him A tier. Maybe he's potentially A+. I think, again, there's an argument for, I think these 4 characters to all be A+ tier, but I'm gonna put Professor right here, slightly above Embalmer. Post-buff, Professor is very, very nice. That shield can deal with so many hunter abilities now. Anne is another popular one. He can do well against Anne. He can even get clutch rescues at half health. The scale recharges at 45 seconds whenever you like dodge a stun. So you can use it for a hit or a stun, like with Anne or whatever, or like any sort of hunter effect. Obviously, it doesn't work for everything. Like I'm pretty sure it doesn't work on Naiad Water or something like that. But there's a lot of things that it does work for. And a lot of time, what professors will do is like, oh, you know, you're scared of this hunter ability, right? Let's say you're up against like a feaster. You know, feaster's not the best, but you're up against a feaster. He puts up a tentacle. Let me think here. What if I walk toward the feaster, wait for him to swing at me, I use my scale, and then like I go behind a pallet or something, and then boom, like that's it. It's just his scale can be so freaking good. It buys so much time, and he can use 2 of them, even to just stall to get to a pallet or a window. Can like that is honestly like enough. And he does match up well into Ivy, you know, who's a very popular rank hunter. Does debatably okay versus Opera, probably not the best though, because her swing is pretty hard, but you know, it's kind of predictable an Opera singer will go for a swing. But she'll have to bait it out, which means she has to, you know, respect it. It means she gets a little more distance, potentially make it to a pallet or a window. I just think Professor is very good right now. I think he's very, very good. And again, not the best in the game, just very, very solid. As opposed to Antiquarian, who I still think is probably the best survivor in the game. She is so strong. She is so incredibly strong, dude. So incredibly strong. She can literally deal with almost every single hunt in the game. Pretty much, like, she's not perfect. No survivor is perfect, but she has tools to deal with almost every single hunter in this game. And she's so incredibly strong. She can stun and make it so they can't basic swings for so long. She has the flip. She can get rescues pretty consistently by going like 1-2, get the rescue with the stick. She's so versatile, but her base ability is so strong. She has no debuff outside of gate opening. She has built-in airwalk, longer pallet stuns if the hunter has swung a little bit longer. I don't know why she has that. It's so crazy ridiculous. Like she's so good at containment. She's so freaking strong, and she can harass very well too. She can harass and buy time, and she's probably one of the only viable harassers in the tournament meta right now. Rank meta is a little different, but for tourney, she's definitely like the only one that can really harass. And she just buys so much time, dude. Antiquarian is so strong. In my opinion, she's still the best survivor in the game right now. I'm still deciding on what my top 5 is, but I don't think any other characters that I'm looking at below will fall into top 5. No, actually, I lied. There might be one more. Yeah, Auntie's just so good. Next up is Composer. I love Composer, but he's A- tier. He's good. You know, no debuff. Tuning Fork is very good, especially when paired with like a cheerleader or something. I might even have to put him here, actually. I hate to say it. That's all he has, that speed boost, and so many hunters can just outpace it. So many hunters don't have to care. He can't rescue. He has nothing for rescuing. Okay, I lied. Tide needs your Composer go crazy because you can approach the chair with Tuning Fork and then just brute force the rescue. Yeah, I mean he's not bad. Again, B tier I don't think makes you bad. It just makes you harder to win with. And he just gets outpaced. That's really all I can say about Composer. His Cypher Rush is very fast, but he just gets outpaced. He might be A-, but I think I'm gonna put him B, because he doesn't have like anything that these characters have, like some sort of gimmick or like way to deal with certain things. But yeah, I love Composer, but I'm gonna put him B tier for now. Next up is Journalist, and I'm gonna put Journalist in A- tier. Yeah, right here. So Journalist is in a weird spot because I think in tournaments that this character is pretty bad. because every good hunter knows how to manipulate their hitbox around it. Even in rank, this character, I'm gonna say something that's probably so mean to journalist mains, and I really, really hate to say this, but I'm sorry. Journalist doesn't require that much skill if the hunter just doesn't know how to beat a journalist. So a lot of the clips that journalist people are getting, it's because the hunter doesn't know how to deal with journalists. I really hate to be that guy and say that, but a lot of the clips that people get with journalists are literally like not that interesting, because I don't play journalists that often, and I just like do whatever with journalists, and sometimes it just works. Like I cut in an opera singer for like over 3 ciphers because the opera didn't know how to deal with journalists. It had nothing to do with me cutting well. I was just tide center and like spamming doofuses. It's because the opera didn't know how to deal with the journalist. She doesn't know how to deal with it. She couldn't do it. Like, she just didn't know how to deal with it. And there's a lot of hunters in rank that don't know how to deal with it. I mean, again, we're assuming that hunters do know how to deal with it. That's why I'm putting her this low. But there's a lot of counterplay to journalists, right? A lot of journalists want to hide behind the palette, like make the doofus drop it. But so many hunters can affect you on the other side of the palette. You know, a lot of projectile hunters, she's not the best against. You know, stuff like Bonbon, even stuff like Sculptor, you know, can be pretty annoying. There's a lot of hunters that can deal with journalists. She's pretty decent against single hit hunters. She's good against Clown. She's good against Gamekeeper. Another thing is she also pretty much guarantees a rescue no matter what with her doofus, because it's like basically sending in 2 people to rescue. If they hit the doofus, journalist gets the rescue. If they hit the doofus with, you know, a double hit, then she just has to not get terror shocked. Like, it's just, her rescuing is very strong, but she can only do it once. If she had 2 rescues, oh my gosh, she'd be so much better. But her for how good her rescue is, she doesn't have the consistent containment that a lot of these higher level rescues do. Like with Officer, it's so easy to juke. Mercenary, like 3 elbow pads delayed, it's like built in. Gravekeeper, the shovel, like it's so much easier. Journalist takes a lot of good positioning and high skill at high level. And even if you have that, the hunter can still just outplay you at the end of the day too. And that's what's like really crazy, is like the hunter can just outplay you. So yeah, I would put her A-. Again, I don't think she's the worst character, but she's just harder to win with at high level. But at low level, honestly, Journalist is kind of free at low level, I cannot lie. Low level and mid level, I think this character is literally just the definition of free because people don't know how to deal with her. Yeah. Next up is Aeroplanist. Aeroplanist is insanely good, in my opinion. So, in the past, I was not really an Aeroplanist believer. Like, after his nerfs. This is post-nerf, by the way. Post-nerf. Post-nerf, most people did consider Aeroplanist to be kind of whatever, right? Especially on NAEU, this character is extremely unpopular. But you watch Asia server, bro. Aeroplanists everywhere. This character is so good. He is so versatile. He's basically similar to Coordinator in the way that he just, or like Acrobat, right? Because he can just kite so well with his jetpacks. He has his get out of jail free card Hover, which is just an insanely strong ability. He is so good at rescuing because he can approach the chair with Hover and like just guarantee the rescue because like he can't get cut off. And he even has plenty of hover tricks that makes it so like the hunter can't hit him. He can hover during kite, which just like it just hover to a good area. He can't do anything. On so many maps, he has so many ways of hovering off platforms or hovering off into certain areas. He can make pallets. It's like just a little flywheel. Gamekeeper hates this guy because every time he hooks him, he just jetpacks away. That's it. It's as simple as that. I do have to say though, he requires a lot of skill, a lot of practice, but Aeroplanist is so solid. He is a rescuer with no decoding debuff. In fact, he has a decoding buff of 2% that only affects the cipher, not him specifically. So he can tap a cipher at the start of the game, transition. That cipher will have a 2% decoding buff on any character that touches it for the rest of the game. So it's not just him. He can kind of give that to his allies. Even if he's just passing by a cipher, tap the cipher real quick and keep moving. 2% buff. It matters. Every percent matters in this game. 2% does indeed matter. And like that is so useful. Even as a solo rescuer, he is good. If he is your only rescuer, you could have positive decoding on a team. Let's say your team is Anti, Acro, Aeroplanist, Ada. You have 402% decoding. You decode faster than if you had any of these other rescue. Where did I put officer? Where did he go? Oh, right here. You decode faster. And I know that people think like, oh, so many hunters can just catch up to him. But I'm telling you, bro, I think it's a skill issue. Because I'm looking at Asia server, bro. I'm looking at Asia server. Aeroplanists go crazy. And in tournament, Aeroplanist just is picked so often. He is so common. I think he was the most played character, to my knowledge, in Koa 8. He's so strong. But he requires so much skill. He requires so much skill to play at a high level. But he can deal with every hunter. He just can. He can pretty much deal with almost every single hunter in the game. And he can rescue from almost every single hunter in the game. He is so good of a character. I think he's better than Coordinator, actually. He might even be in the top 5. I can't even lie. He might be top 5. I have to think about it, though. Aeroplanist is very strong, in my opinion. He's just so strong. I know that one might be a little weird to some people, but I just think he's very, very good. Next up is Cheerleader. I think Cheerleader falls into A tier. I think she'll go right above Perfumer. She's right there. Cheerleader Beep Beep is very good. It's a good ability. Don't let anybody tell you that it isn't. It just does have a weakness, and that's the slowdown, which a lot of hunters can deal with. Now, thing is, a lot of the time, if you can just beep beep twice into a good area, that is kind of what she needs to be played for. Like, I feel like a lot of cheerleaders screw themselves over by beep beeping and not really thinking where to go. You gotta beep beep to an area specifically that's good. I feel like a lot of beep beeps just use beep beep to avoid a hit. In my personal opinion, if you are a cheerleader and you are just beep beeping to avoid a hit, why? You're gonna get hit 4 seconds later. Save the beep beep for a rebound and then use it to transition to a better area. I feel like so many cheerleaders just use it to avoid a hit when they should eat the hit and save it for later. That's my thoughts on it. I don't know. The way I play cheerleader is like, I don't use my beep beep unless I know I can use it to get somewhere where I can kite longer. Which a lot of cheerleaders just use it, and then it's like they screw themselves over because they made it to the area, but it's like at the front entrance, and it's like, oh, I need to be able to make it past this window, but oh, the hunter was a geisha, and she just went past it. Whereas like if it's me, I know, okay, the geisha will be able to get me at that window. I'm just gonna die and then use the beep beeps for later, and then maybe I'll be able to get to transition to like deep ruins and hospital or something like that. I don't know, or like graveyard and church or something like that, you know. But again, she's not the strongest. She does have a decoding debuff. The beep beeps do take a while. The refresh is really nice on the support. Her support is really, really solid, but she's just not as consistent as other characters are. And the slowdown really does hurt her. It does. Like even if you save it, like I was saying, like to use it properly, it still does hurt. Next up, we have Puppeteer. Puppeteer, in my opinion, is undoubtedly in rank S tier. I don't think he's top 5. I was considering him to be top 5, but I would think I'd put Puppet top 5 in tourney, not in rank. There's a lot of chip hunters in rank that can deal with him. One specific character that is really dominating right now, especially in Asia server rank, or is doing really, really well, is Bonbon. I think he has the lowest loss rate out of every hunter right now. Maybe not the best win rate, but he has the lowest loss rate, which is crazy. And Puppet is kind of weak to chip hunters, and with Bonbon coming back into the meta, being able to accelerate the chair, it hurts. But Puppet can just brute force so many things. I think I'm gonna put Puppet right below Ada here in rank. In tourney, I think he's top 5, potentially even a contender for top 3, maybe top 1 in tourney. But here, I think he's only S tier, which means he's still very strong. He is still very, very strong. He doesn't really have that many bad matchups. Like he has Wax Artist, Bonbon, Sculptor, Fool's Gold debatably, Peddler debatably because she can Vine while Lewis is still up and use it later. And I feel like that's it. Wheel's okay versus Puppet, not the best. I feel like it's kind of 50-50. But yeah, Puppet for the most part can deal with like almost everything. He can just brute force so many rescues. He's just an definition of brute force, and he's like very, very, very solid. I think he's good. I guess Hermit is also kind of a tricky matchup into him as well. But yeah, Puppet's so good. Puppet is so good. He's just so incredibly good. Even against something like an Anne who like sort of hurts him, a good Puppet versus Anne, if she seals the Puppet, he'll just Puppet. And then, I can't hit him for 8 seconds. If I do, he gets distance. I mean, she get cats back, but you know. I don't know, dude. I think Puppet's super good. He could probably be way better than this, but I think in a rank setting, I'm going to put him here. In tourney, though, he's definitely up here. He just brute forces things. Another S tier character, Finn. Finn is super, super good. I'm going to put Finn... I'm going to put Finn right here. Finn is so good, bro. Finn is so freaking good. I'm telling you, bro, this character does not have a bad matchup. He just doesn't. Like, his one bad matchup is, like, Goatman. Like, I'm looking at the hunter page right now. I don't see a single hunter that he does bad against. He literally does well into like pretty much every hunter that isn't named Goatman. The thing about Finn is he just has so much speed. So much freaking speed, dude, that like he can just transition wherever he wants. If he's a Broken Windows Finn, dude, you pair Broken Windows with Ball, you can go through like an entire square of an area in IDV so freaking fast. He's so good at transitional kiting. That you could literally just like drop 2 pallets, Ball, transition to a new area, drop 2 pallets, Ball, die to blink, and like it's the freest 60-second kite. Like, this character is so incredibly strong. He can do really well for rescues. He has really good support. He might only have 2 airbags, but the airbags are so strong, and if the hunter doesn't break it, if the hunter doesn't break it, bro. If the hunter doesn't break it, he has infinite loops that he can do. Absolute, just like completely broken infinite loops. Finn is so strong right now in this meta. And he counters some of the hunters that have been coming back into the meta, you know? Clown, Wheel. He can do very well into those hunters. Just set up a ball in a strong area. Can't chase you. You have to go around. Or get out of, dash or get out of wheel form. And if you do that, a lot of good Finns will hear the second you get out of it and take their ball back sometimes, or use the speed boost from the ball before you break it. Like, he really only has one bad matchup, and that's Goatman, because the speed doesn't really matter against a Goatman. But again, Goatman's gonna be banned in rank, so in rank, he's just so incredibly good. Potentially, it's a contender for top 5. I think Finn is super, super good right now in this meta. He just gets so much distance, and the hunters just can't really keep up with him. They just can't. Next up, it is going to be Faro Lady, Thrower Lady, as I like to call her, but not really anymore because after her buff, I think Thrower Lady is A- tier. I think I'm gonna put her like right here, right above Toy Merchant. Again, she's not really the strongest character out there. She's very good at gimmicking though. Again, I think Faro Lady and Journalists kind of fall into the same sort of like, haha, look at the hunter, they can't do anything because they don't know how to counterplay my character. And it's like, it doesn't really feel that good because a lot of hunters don't know what they're doing against it. It's silly. But Faro Lady especially is very strong in the late game. I feel like people underestimate Faro Lady late game because she is more valuable late game than she is early game. For example, a hunter early game is very weak, right? So it's going to be really hard to down any character, Faro Lady included, right? It's like, oh, you gotta work for it, right? But late game, the hunter is at their peakest strength. So, something like, a professor could be a little easier to down because you might have like multiple abilities to deal with him. But Faro Lady, she's still invisible for nearly 20 seconds. I can't do anything if she out-gimmicks me. That's the thing. She can literally just out-gimmick you, and she has no cooldown on wands. So if she really needs to at a pinch, she can use 2 wands and confuse the absolute heck out of you. So, yeah. The thing is, though, she just also is not a strong character. If she's ever forced to rescue, it's the freest double down. Unless the character on chair is like a really strong kiter. Or with companion effect and whatnot. Yeah, she's not the best, but she's not really the worst. Her Cypheress is pretty quick as well. And I really hope they don't buff her. I think they said they're going to buff her and take away her footsteps. I really don't think that needs to be done, because I feel like it would take away any skill that Faro Lady needs, because right now she's kind of a no-skill character, if you ask me. That's kind of mean to say, but she's kind of no-skill. She's kind of just free kite every 20 seconds, so... that's why I think she's so popular on NAU. I really hate to be that guy, but she's kind of just free kite, the character, until her invisibility is up. And next up, we have Knight. Now, Knight is gonna... No matter where I put this man, people are going to be mad. I personally think Knight is an A+ character. I think I'd put him right above Forward. Knight is so good. He is very strong. He is not the most consistent character, which is why I'm not going to put him S tier. But his rescuing is one of the best in the game. It is so strong, dude. His rescuing, oh my gosh, is so incredibly annoying. I really hate it when I have to deal with a Knight. Knight is also just really annoying as a chase as well. because as somebody who plays Hunter into Knight and even has abilities that deal with him, I don't like wanting to, like, it's always the fact that stalemate is an option, which allows him to buy more time, get more distance for his second helmet to become ready. And that's the thing, is like, the only thing that's stopping Knight for being an S tier for me in rank right now is some bad matchups and consistent. Like, for example, Clown, again, another Hunter that's coming back in the meta, very popular. I think Ivy, I don't think he matches up too well into Ivy, to my knowledge. Ivy mains could say different, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't do too well into Ivy mains. He's pretty 50-50 towards BQ. If the BQ has enough distance on him, she can just hit him with Mirror. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have like the greatest matchup chart across the board, but his rescue is undeniably so incredibly strong. He can rescue from safer areas. He can rescue from farther away, which means in a tight pinch, you can rescue from farther away, which means you don't have to get to the chair as close. So that can be super good. Like, he just has a lot to work with. The only thing stopping him from being S tier again is lack of consistency. Even though he is consistent most of the time, I would say 70% of the time I feel like Knight like comes out on the better end of his helmet, I would say. It doesn't really feel like a 50-50 because he has 2 predictions instead of 1. I feel like more often than not, Knight does win it, but there still is some, you know, times where you don't, or characters that just counter it and can wait for it and they don't care. That's why I'm not going to put him S. But I think he's undeniably A+. I think he's so strong. I think he's very ranked viable. And just a generally annoying nuisance for hunters. Next up is Meteorologist, and I think Meteorologist is S tier. I was not a believer until I played her myself, and I realized, oh my gosh, this character does not have a bad matchup. She just doesn't. She doesn't have a bad matchup. She can kite every hunter in the game. There is quite literally I don't think, it's like Acrobat, bro. She's kind of similar to Acrobat in the way that there just is no, she might even be better. I don't think she's better than Puppeteer and Ada though in rank. Maybe? No, I'll put her here for now. She just doesn't have a bad matchup. She really doesn't. I think like, maybe, I don't even think Breaking Wheel, because then you just like push him back when he gets out of wheel form. I don't know, dude. Maybe Dream Witch? I just don't think she has a bad matchup. The thing is, she can kite so well against every hunter in the game. Like Pushback or Cloud, whatever one you need at the proper time just works whenever. And she's a decent rescuer. Like, because her cutting is so good, she can come in and rescue. Again, she did get nerfed, so she can't do the pushback thing as effectively. It's not going to be as good. But like, so many Meteorologists play her with Tide because it's like, okay, well, it's the same logic of Acrobat. Acrobat's such a strong kiter that like, if we have Acro, let's just bring in with Tide. The same with Meteorologist, such a good kiter. I can Cloud to the chair like Aeroplanist Hover. And as long as it's not like some crazy like spamming character like Sculptor Bonbon, which, you know, everybody would struggle a little bit against those, she can probably get the rescue, you know? And I think Meteorologist is very strong. I think she's S tier right now in rank. I think she's just so incredibly strong. I was not a believer. I thought Meteorologist was like a solid A+ tier, maybe A. I'm a believer now, though. I'm definitely a believer now. I think she's definitely S tier. Finally, this one, I'm not confident. I will say I'm not confident on Archer. But I think Archer is an A+ tier character right now. I don't think she's S tier. Archer's support is very good. The thing is, Archers, there's a lot of different ways to play her. The way that I have currently been playing Archer right now is to never use her as a balloon harasser. I don't think she should be played as a balloon harasser. I think she's actually kind of bad played as a balloon harasser. She is much better played as a force the hunter to like force way more pressure on the hunter, right? Anytime you are an archer and you shoot the hunter, they have instantly been applied pressure to either make one choice. 1, sit still and give the character that they're chasing distance. 2, commit to the character with resources and get them down in time. And that is what I think Archer really does, is forcing the hunter into those pressure situations where if the kiter is able to get enough distance, the stun will happen, giving them even more distance, or they sit still, which gives them distance. As a kiter, though, Archer is fine. I think she's slightly, I don't want to call her weak, but I feel like she does have some pretty bad matchups. And she is a pretty high skill character at high level because you really have to hit those arrows. But I feel like she's decent enough at getting 60-second kites because crossbow into bow is a stun, drop 2 pallets, crossbow into bow again. That's 60 seconds. You don't even have to have the best kites. I feel like Archer's pretty solid. I don't know if she's S tier this yet, simply because I haven't seen enough Archer players at high level yet, because I think she's being banned a lot on Asia server. I haven't seen a lot of high level Archers. And you know, people are saying Archer's very, very good. So there's an argument that she's S tier. I haven't seen it yet though. I haven't seen it because I still think that the Spirit of Bragi slowdown really hurts her when she's a solo kiter. It really hurts. And the worst terror effect also can be a scary when you're gonna get like surprised by a hunter that's really fast, that you won't be able to transition as early off of a cipher potentially unless somebody's gonna communicate with you. But again, under those circumstances, you should assume that like there's good communication. So I still think Archer is very good. Again, I'm not super confident on putting her here, but I think she's very strong. As for top 5, I think I will just honestly, I'm gonna throw Aeroplanist in there. And in terms of consistency, I will throw in Acrobat, I think. Yeah, I think this right here, no, this is the list. Finn, no, coordinator better than Finn. Finn, yes. Okay, so this I think will be my survivor ranked tier list. Top 5 is Anti, Merc, Seer, Aeroplanist, Acro. S tier is coordinator, Finn, Grave, Officer, Psych, Puppet, Meteor, Mech, and Priestess. A+ we have Mage, Wildling, Novelist, Archer, Weeping Knight, Forward, Dancer, Patient, Prisoner, Lawyer. A is going to be Gardener, Prof, Embalmer, Prospector, Batter, Postman, Barmaid, Cheerleader, Perfumer, Melee. A-, Journalist, Explorer, Painter, Faro, Toy Merchant, Lucky Guy. B is Composer, Little Child, Cowboy, Enchantress. C, Thief, Doc, Mind's Eye. Unranked is Escapologist. I don't know how good Escapologist right now. I think he's either going to fall into A+ or A tier right now. I don't know if he's going to be S tier. I don't know. His block ability is so good. Like the free hit is really good, but I feel like his smoke screen isn't going to be the most powerful thing, honestly. I really don't think it's going to be that good. I think the biggest thing is going to be able to like put people on better chairs that are easier to rescue from, which makes the rescuer's job easier. And I think his free hit is going to be very good. Like, I think people are going to underestimate that free hit a lot right now. And even though there's no attack recovery, like with an 8 or something, that's still, like, you still have to use resources to catch up to him to eliminate that free hit. And he can even take risky vaults or even potentially get a free hit on the chair, which would be a terror shock, use that speed to get another rescue off somehow, potentially. I don't know. I think Escapologist will be solid. I think at worst he's A-, but I don't see him being worse than that. I think he's going to be like a solid A+ tier character, most likely, but I'm going to put him unranked for now since I just don't have that information. So this is going to be my Season 37 Survivor ranked tier list. I think anybody in A tier and above is solo rank viable. Anyone A- and below might need a little bit more teamwork, might need to have like a couple other characters to consider. Or that it's not as strong. You know, stuff like Faro Lady is like, a lot of people love playing Faro Lady because she's really easy. And she's kind of just walking free kite. But there are obviously stronger characters in the game. I think this is going to be it, though. I think this is the list. I don't really think I disagree with anything that I'm seeing here. Obviously, you guys might disagree with me. But I think overall, a lot of the survivors are quite strong in this game and do have a lot of tools to work with. But not all of them are going to be like the easiest to win with in terms of their difficulty to play. But in terms of overall strength of the character, not like knowledge or the player, I think I would go with this. So let me know what you guys think. Obviously, this is just my opinion. That is it. Just my opinion in the game. And you are completely fine to disagree with me in any way, shape, or form. And I actually want to hear you guys' thoughts. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think. But those are all my reasons for the characters. So there it is. There's my tier list. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, everybody. Bye-bye.